All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Hangry Games Opens. This would be one of the last Opens we'll be having before the tournament kicks off next week. But we luckily have some teams which have done us the courtesy of pitching up today so we can see some live action. This evening we'll actually be having one of our first test runs here on the Thunderdome server, so we apologize if there happens any difficulties occur and we need to either delay things or worst case, the server just crashes itself and things come to a grinding halt. But the team with us today on the commentator's side that we have is we'll be having myself and Mizer handling one of the arenas. And Mizer, are you over there?
I am, and I am excited.
All right.
At only one week for the actual tournament day, so this is the last chance for people to prove up their worth before things really count.
Yeah, and then as well, we'll be having Wingnut and Aranthar handling one of the other arenas. So welcome to you guys. Okay. Then I just want to mention to everyone, this is the last Opens, as mentioned. Before we'll be kicking things off for the tournaments next week. We'll be dropping some links into the Twitch chat. Oh, no. Apparently was deleted by a moderator, so I cannot link things to you guys. But we are still taking submissions for adverts. Feel free to find those on the Hangry Games announcement Discord. Oh, there we go. Rain is also, that's the brackets for the challenge. So people will be welcome to see the schedule, which will be kicking off next week. And so last time we'll be having opens here. 20 teams will be coming along. I think I got over the necessary points. If we can just show the lineup of teams we'll be having this evening. We normally have, I think we normally have 8 teams, but one of the teams unfortunately dropped out. So we were fortunate enough that I believe AP Stole My Fit is filling in for us again. So the teams we'll be having today will be Jovco Mining Division, AP Stole My Fit, Goondra Unloaded. We are for the network, Hangry Nubs, 2 rigs, 1 ship, if all else fails. This difference, a bit different than the Alliance tournaments that you guys will be used to. So some of these names will be very, very confusing, and I don't really know who they are myself. So I'm not too sure if any of you guys are familiar with who these teams are mostly composed of.
Not a clue, mate.
I think. Oh, well, I mean, I'm gonna guess. Oh, did I just like read names twice? I was probably going. Okay, but anyway, well, I'm gonna guess. Goondra, it might be Goons or it might be Hydra. We'll see. It's a bit hard. Some of these teams, most of them actually, will both basically be consisting from a single alliance, but it's not a rule that we're enforcing for this tournament. They're more than welcome to be from multiple alliances or multiple corps. You don't even need to be in an alliance. It's basically just get your buddies together and make this tournament, join this tournament. So this difference to the Alliance tournament, which is normally run in the past by CCP and Even T, in that this is a 7 versus 7 format. We do still have the bans. The other restriction that we have in this format is that you only allowed to have 2 of a certain hull type at any time. So what we mean by that is you're allowed 1 Marauder and 1 battleship, and that's 2 battleship hulls. You're not allowed to put in a Black Ops now, because that'll be reaching 3. Logistics ignores this limit. The limit applied to logistics would just be either 1 logistics cruiser or 2 logistics frigate. That's the kind of basic rundown of it. Wingnut, if you can go over the bans that they'll be using today, what's the format we do for that?
Wait, I'm sorry, you want the format?
So the format that we do for our bans, how do the teams handle it?
Yeah. All right, so each team obviously bans 3 ships. If they match up, like they both ban the same ship, they get an extra ban each. In fact, one of our matches, they got 2 extra bans, so it can continue on. I don't know what the limit of that is, but essentially, it's a typical side of thing. You ban out 3 ships and then go from there.
Yeah, so the limit will be 3. So they're blind bans. Teams submit their bans ahead of time to the referee. They don't really know what the other team submits. The ref goes over it, and then he informs the other team, hey, this is what the other team bans, and these are your overlaps. And for each overlap, they get an additional ban. This only occurs up to once. So Miz, have you been with us for these past Alliance Open, the Angry Game Opens? Have you been following what's been happening for the meta that we've been showing lately?
Yeah, I've been around for most of the open practices. I believe actually been seeing quite a lot of different things, but I've seen a lot of success with the team-based setup, like having the high DPS, both rush comps and the long range missile comps, and especially comps that using healers have seen a lot of success. So this could be one of these years where we see a lot of shield-based setups. Like traditionally, we have often seen armor comps come out ahead, since they give you the mid slots for having EVO and other utility. And I still believe there are many strong armor setups in this format, but we'll see how they compare.
No, fantastic. I think that's also, you mentioned Shield. I wonder if that's going to be something we'll be seeing today. So on the past, our opens have been on Singularity, which is open test server to pretty much everyone in EVE. But now we're on Thunderdome, which is a private tournament server, which gives the players a bit more control. We've given them all level 5 skills, so everyone's on an equal playing field skill-wise. They are able to spawn pretty much anything they want outside of a CCP exclusive QA stuff. But that speaking of the Shield, is that we might be hoping we actually see some Etanas. So Etana is one of the only special limited ships we've actually allowed in the tournament. Things like the armor equivalent of the Rabisu not being in, other AT ships not being in, the Etana being the only one. The Basilisk still being allowed, but teams have been having to default to the Basilisk with being on Singularity, but now being on Thunderdome, it'll be the first opportunity for them to actually be able to spawn one and fly it in the matches. Arthur, you're normally behind the scenes as a ref, right?
Yeah, so sort of this week and last week, I'm handling the bans for the teams in the background. So as before, when it was mentioned, teams have duplicate bans. I basically go to those teams and we sort out alternate bans there. So we have seen one today already where we've had two teams in their first pick both pick two ships the same. Still waiting for two teams to get submitted exactly the same bans. I think that'd be rather funny to see, and then try to sort that out. So yeah, but mostly I've been around for all of the Open so far. Like I said, I'm a bit of a silent workhorse normally in the background of these things, but definitely sort of seeing the same sort of meta going ahead with the bans this time as well.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, this is open, it's public information, so teams might not be bringing their absolute A game in the sense of meta and theory crafting, but that remains to be seen. What we could be seeing today could be the peak meta of the entire tournament, or it could just be some people pulling off bamboozles for us and just having some fun, and then something completely different starting next week. But we do already have some people being moved into the first tournament system. The first match that we'll be having today being Jovco Mining Division and versus AP Stole My Fit. Miz, if you can go over the bans that the teams have gone, if you have it open there on your side.
Yes, Jovco Mining Division has banned Balgon, Vindicator, and Healer. And we have seen like Balgon and Vindicator have been strong tournament ships throughout the years. Balgon having long range weaponifiers and Nubs, and the Vindicator being a lot of damage and these 90% weaponifiers. And then the Healer, as we talked about before, it's been a really strong ship in this format. It does allow take 2 drones, unlike the previous Alliance tournaments. They only had take 1 drones. So the Healer can be a really strong ship when you have these take 2 drones, and they can be really good at dealing with the enemy's support ship. And on AP Stole My Fit, you're seeing the Scimitar, the Loki, and the Raven being banned. Scimitar is one of the strongest shield logi. The Loki offers long range weaponifiers as well as a decent amount of damage. And the Raven, which is actually a bit surprising, they can be long range missile with cruise missiles, or they can be strong brawlers with torpedoes, but not really something I would expect someone to ban.
Yeah, that's something I'm not sure. What are your opinions? Like, because I think last week you and I talked about this.
No.
That when we saw that funny mega ban as well, and now we're seeing the funny Raven ban.
No, there's no benefit here for a Raven as far as I can see. Like, no, like if you're gonna ban something like that, you ban a rattlesnake instead because it's just better in every way. No, I have nothing to say but no. I don't get it. Maybe there's some plan, but my glasses aren't seeing it. It's not feeding me the
could be.
information I need right now. I don't get what they're doing.
When we saw the janky mega ban last week, there's something that can occur. Obviously, this is open, so you take it all for a grain of salt. This could just be someone putting some memes on us. But it can happen when teams have scrims against their partners that this kind of pocket meta forms, and they start seeing a threat where there might not necessarily be one. So you can get into the circumstance where a team with their scrim partner starts, regularly coming up against a Raven, argument's sake, which might be some janky Torp Raven, but it's just giving them the hardest time ever, and that's what they see Raven, and they see that as a threat. We are slowly having the teams warp in, not both yet on grid, but I am going to agree the Raven is just an odd one. The Gila I can agree with. Then the drones. Misspoke about the T2 drones being allowed in this tournament, specifically T2 combat drones, which include sentry drones, E-war drones, and logistic drones, still on T1. Scimitar, definitely, as Miz said as well, one of the better shield ships, mainly due to its self-sustainability. I'm still hoping we're going to see a Etana, but I'm not too sure if that's going to happen. And Loki versatility. Won't be calling out yet what the teams are until both have arrived on grid, but kind of looking a bit interesting. So, Miz, I want to ask you, why would you ban a Scimitar over an Etana now that the Etana is allowed?
Yes, actually something I was thinking a bit about, because the Etana is really strong compared to both the Scimitar and the Basilisk. But I see the only situation where the Scimitar outperforms the Etana is if you need a really fast logi ship. So that could be in kiting setups or in rush setups where the Scimitar could outperform the Etana. But in every else situation, I would pick an Etana. I would even pick an Etana in rush setups because the speed difference, I don't believe it's that big. But in return, the Etana can take much better, and that's a huge thing for shield logis because traditionally both the Basilisk and the Scimitar are extremely squishy.
That's very true. Etana being one of the like OG AT tournament ships for prize pool that really just was one of those pocket picks teams who would you could argue and say pay to win, but it's definitely like a very, very powerful Basilisk, having more HP, having more slots. I think it has an extra low and an extra mid. The one difference I believe it has versus the Basilisk, and then technically Scimitar as well, though, is I believe an Etana actually has a lower sensor strength, which is a bit of a niche thing, but it can come into play with that. But Scimitar definitely more kitey vibes. We actually do have the other team warping on grid here, so Miz, if you can go over what we're seeing here on grid so long.
Yes, so the red team with this AP Stole My Fit have brought in an armor-based brawl setup with a Hyperion, an Absolution, and 2 Ogre Navy issues as their high damage core, and then they have a Sarmast for logistics and a Vengeance and a Claw for tackle. And the choice of Sarmast is really interesting. It's something I've been talking about before, that being unable to split reps between targets can be a big of a problem. In this situation, they do have 4 really tanky ships for their core, so it could maybe work. And in return, the Sarmast is extremely tanky compared to the other armor ships. And on the blue team, Jovco mining collision, we're having a pretty much standard Minotaur rush setup with the ejectors to augment it with the longer range projection. I at least believe these are light missile ejectors.
Excuse me, we'll confirm. But I do find it they brought a scalpel, and if I'm correct, they only brought one, and there isn't any other form of logistics. It's just a scalpel by itself.
Yes, this is actually quite unusual. Normally, you are permitted to bring 2 of the Logi frigates which can help augment each other and protect each other. But having one scalpel, it has not much to keep it alive. So we'll see what's going to happen here.
That is very interesting. I'm also tempted. I mean, they might be relying on that single Kitsune they brought and some Logi drones, but the normal big bonus of having the Frig Logi is that, it's 2 Logi which can cover each other's backs, and they have the small signature to stay alive. And the bigger Logi are able to hold their own ground because they have more hit points. They can have better reps, such as the XLASB shield boosters, but that's just not a reality for Frigs. So I'm tempted to see if they're going to ignore it, or if they're just going to see if they can get it off the field ASAP, as we do have the countdown starting. It is ACs on those slips. These Org Navies, I can't see the guns. Yes, those are pulses, I believe. 15 seconds before we get this match underway. What do you think they're going to be going first for on the red team there?
I think they're going to try and get these Org Navy issues into the back line. Seeing the warbins has been a narrow angle, so these people are actually pretty close to each other. And as the match has begun, we're seeing the links coming up, and the Vagabond is going in to screen these ships. So this is a good choice of the Vagabond of Esil.
And we see the Scalpels and the Kitsune running away. That Scalpel running away might not be the best idea, because once again, it's a Frig Logi. It doesn't have the best ranges. Sleipnir will have its own self-tank bonus, but if you're already down technically 1 Frig Logi, and your Frig Logi is getting itself way out of optimal, that's something Sleipnir's going to have a hard time right now.
And we're seeing the Claw diving into the back line. I think it's going for the Kitsune. Like, this is can be vital, clearing off this ECM power. With the Claw on top of it, there's not really much they can do aside from trying to kill the Claw before they kill the Kitsune.
But the problem we have as well is, as you mentioned before, the only reps that that Claw is going to have to cover is going to be the Zarm. And if the Zarm puts its main rep over to the Claw, while it does have an extreme range of 70 kilometers, that means what's ever getting hit right now, such as the Org, isn't going to get those big reps. And if the Zarm put down some medium reps to try cover some gaps, those medium reps are only going to have a range of 10 kilometers, which is not enough to cover that Claw. So it's a bit of a, the Claw's relying on its buffer, and it looks like it's going to lose out there.
Yes, it looks like the Ejectors did the right thing and swapped to the Claw. It's in a vulnerable position. And the Kitsune is actually not taking that much damage. It looks like the Claw is pulling back, trying to keep himself alive. As Asil in the Vagabond is taking armor damage. This is not good when you're a shield ship.
Definitely not. You can see his shield kind of seesawing there. So he's also likely running an XLSB, I'm going to guess. Vagabond having the same bonus as a Sleipnir with bonus to local shield boosters. But we might see once he hits a charge limit, he's just going to pop, which has happened there. So while he does have the raw shield boosting, he generally does not have the buffer. And that's what we saw there, that huge armor bleed coming through because he doesn't have the buffer to ready to coincide with his reps.
Yeah, and we're seeing these tackle frigates. As I was saying, that one of the Vengeance does get down. They traded for the Kitsune.
And the Kitsune goes at the same time, yeah.
The Claw might drop as well, but we have the Hyperion on top of that Sleipnir, so that Sleipnir is not going to last long at all.
So I'm actually very surprised how long this Scalpel has been staying alive. It looks like it just has a couple of Hornets on it with no shield bots. Sleipnir is still taking a bit of a pounding. The Scalpel's doing its best to keep it alive, but they might have just felt like, hey, it's a single Scalpel. Let's just, burst through whatever we can. So I want to say, yeah, especially with that Sleipnir down, it looks like they're going to be pulling ahead on this, I'd say.
I think that in this position with good Hyperion Absolution and these two Org Navy issues, they are having a lot of DPS even for armor setup there. So they're just trying to brawl these down without having to go and chase the Scalpel. Have to keep in mind that the Scalpel has a really tiny signature, so it can be hard for them to actually apply damage. they would have to chase it down first.
Especially now that most of the tackle stuff is off grid. I wouldn't really well, it's not on the scalpel side, but I also wouldn't really consider the Devs Jackdaws in this situation as tackle. I think they're running light missile setup. Jackdaws generally nice because they have a bunch of mids which allow them to feature a lot of utility in like paints or remote SIBOs or even a better tackle every now and then. As we do see the Zarm starting to get a pressure here with no sign of any rep bots to save it.
Yes, it looks like both the Jackdaws are slowly working on that Zarm. So this is one of the strengths of the Jackdaws. They can project damage really well and they can apply to everything. We do have the Sleipnir trying to chase down the Zarm as well. At least as fast as he can when he's webbed, because he's having the entire core of AP Stormer Fit team right on top of him.
And looks like the Zarm's trying to make a bit of a break here for the edge, going out to about 100 kilometers from the center. A bit of medium rep bots catching up to it to give help it, but it's kind of in a situation right now where he's almost outrunning his own rep bots, but he needs to keep that MWD running to try and kite, although might not be the best option since his missile's hitting him. But saying that, the Sleipnir and pretty much the biggest threat against him goes down, so I'm almost going to say it's pretty much smooth sailing from that Zarm from here.
Yeah, from this point, the blue team have lost almost all the DPS, having these Jackdaws remaining, but they won't have enough to break any of these ships in a matter of fast enough to actually make it matter. Actually, we're still roughly halfway through the fight, but you can see that the Zarm is actually recovering thanks to these repair bots and maybe also a local Ansel rep.
But I mean, there's not much more to say on this regard. These Jackdaws might be looking to buy themselves a bit of time. Not exactly. Look, they've lost the match, so I'm not going to be too hard on them. But what you might be looking for in a situation like this, where you would be having your, you want to play for time, you want to make sure you come out ahead as possible. Is you don't actually want it clustered up like those two Jackdaws and the Scalpel was. You want to make it so that they kill the Scalpel. Cool, you got the Scalpel. But now you need to go 50 kilometers to get that Jackdaw. Okay, you got that Jackdaw, but now you need to go another 100 kilometers to get the other Jackdaw. You want to make them waste time as they fly between targets. You don't want to give them good follow-up targets being right next to each other if you're these kind of kitey-like missile ships. But as we say that, we have a clear win here for I need to get my colors sorted. AP stole my fit, so let me just get that stuff. But that's fantastic. So we're coming back over here. I'm not really sure why they would have banned the Raven. That's still really odd for me. But I'd say that was a pretty clear victory. I'd say maybe it would have been a bit different if, I don't know, how would you have felt if they had brought a second Scalpel?
Wouldn't have made a difference. Their whole comp wasn't built on that.
It's just weird to me to have the one Friglogy. I know it's maybe just going against my core of the whole principle behind having the Friglogy. I'm used to actually captaining teams and making stuff, and it's kind of like, hey, taking Friglogy, they come in pairs. Maybe you have a Scalpel and a Burst, the T1 version. I mean that's happens, but just one Friglogy seems a bit odd to me. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say.
They went for the small stuff. They went for the small stuff first rather than going for the, for instance, the Zarma off the bat. They wanted to go for it. That damage might have been what cost them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, especially if you're going with this AC rush of the Vagabonds and the Slips. You get those. Well, it also looked maybe a bit like they were splitting damage, like you said, between small stuff and the Org. Those might have been the Jackdaws just thinking hey, we're better at shooting small stuff. We should go for the small stuff. People can get kind of tunnel vision for their roles, whereas it's no. Even if you have 100 DPS, 50 DPS, 200 DPS, it all adds up, and that can be a make or break to get something off the field and tip it. So, they might have thought if they could split their DPS, it would have been a good tactic against Zarm. You can counter a Zarm by just switching targets, but I don't know. They just didn't really seem to go for the right thing and get their threats off the field soon enough.
I will say
I'm not sure how much.
Zarm's actually good.
So I'm not sure how much value they actually got out of that Kitsune. I couldn't see if he actually landed that many gems, and when the claw went for the Kitsune, they had to switch off the Jackdaws to peel that claw. So that was DPS losing for the big brawl they had in the middle. So to answer the question about the second scalpel, I would actually have thought they had more value if they brought a second scalpel instead of the Kitsune. Since this was something they lost because they couldn't, they got out-brawled by the other setup.
Or the
Well,
reverse,
I don't
and
think
bring
we should
the
harp
Kitsune
to-
instead of the scalpel.
Well, let's not harp on too much about the first match for the day. We already have the second one coming up, so I'm going to hand it over to Wingnut and Aaron there, so you guys can start handling over for the second match we'll be seeing soon.
Yes. Once they show up.
Oh, feel
Yeah,
free to
Yara,
talk
how you
about
doing,
their
man?
bands and who will be playing.
Do we have to? No, I'm kidding. All right. Hey, Yara, you want to start us through this one, mate?
Yeah, we'll start off with the bands on this one then. So this is going to be Goondra Unloaded versus We Are 4. So this is the one with the first sort of double ban, as I've been calling it. So they've both went for a Balgorn and Rattlesnake to start off. Balgorn seems to be a fairly popular choice that I've seen through the tournament. I totally get that though. I don't like facing them. It's especially, getting that sort of newt not off the grid is like massive advantage, especially if they get on your Logi and start pressuring them. That can make or break a match for you. So we're also seeing from Goondra is Cerberus, Curse, and Eos. Again, I'm not sure about the Serb. I'm guessing they don't want to see a sort of kitey comp, which the Serb would sort of be a key role in that. I can say from experience flying with them last in the Alliance Opens, they sort of didn't do very well against those sort of kitey comps. VR4 has also went for a Neros, Kitsune, and Vindicator. Again, getting that Logi off the grid, great choice. I'd always say the
interesting,
Neros is a really solid ban.
Very interesting out of all that is they left the Scimitar on the field and all sorts of shield Logi. They also left the Sleipnir on the table. They've left, well, pretty much all the high DPS shield ships. The Cerberus band, yeah, that's one of them, but the Cerberus doesn't have to kite. It can kind of brawl with Ham, so that's a very distinct leaving shield open, so I suspect I'm going to see Sleipnirs again today.
Yeah, I would see that.
Yes.
Possibly even turn up with Nighthawks, you never know.
Oh no. The meme hawks, let's go. I want to see that.
What's wrong with Nighthawks?
They actually are kind of good. It's the Draco, therefore
Like,
they are just terrible by default.
Yeah, but I mean, ever since the command shit update, those bad boys can like put out like almost 1,200 deeps with their hams. I mean, they're slow boys for sure, but I mean, I wouldn't underestimate the hams. And they still have the heavy missile options, but I mean, they can be scary after that command shit update.
Heavy missiles as a weapon system? I'm sorry, what? But yeah, I agree. They have a lot of DPS at the moment, but I don't know. I guess they have left Scimitar open, so it could make a really tanky comp with Nighthawks and maybe a Scimitar, but do you honestly think they're going to bring a Nighthawk, man?
No, I don't think they're going to bring a Nighthawk.
There you go.
I would like to see a Nighthawk, because I do like the Nighthawk as a ship. But no, it's if you do have two of them and they start pounding down on you, it is a lot of DPS to be trying to tank there. But that totally depends on what the rest of their comps are built around. At the minute, I can't say. I can't say exactly what they're going to be bringing. We'll just have to see what they bring on grids. Looks like they are in local really now, though.
Ah, legend. I can make it really simple. If you had the option Nighthawk, Sleipnir. If you pick Nighthawk, I'm kicking your ass.
Come fight me in wormholes, bro. Come fight me. Like we're waiting wormholes for you with those Nighthawks.
But I mean,
I'm eternal told. But you're allowed to have favorites, Arthur. I personally, as a favorite thing here, I would probably choose Nighthawks. But speaking about favorites, I'm actually quite a fan of the Paladin, which is normally you see that every now and then sprinkled around in these tournaments, but we haven't seen Paladins at all, have we?
I
We've seen
don't
Equip
think we
Mages.
have. No.
Like, so it might just be like,
maybe, but
hey,
I
they're
don't
really
see them.
expensive and it's a 77. What's your favorite ship then, Wingnut?
Favorite ship in the tournament or in general? That's a different question.
Well, you can answer both. You can answer one. Choose, pick.
Okay, quite simple. In tournaments, Vindicator. You gotta have the balls, just charge in. And for even line,
Fair.
Confessor. But yeah, Vindicator is the best.
All right,
If you've got
and
the
then-
balls, you make it work. You charge in with the polarized Vindy.
I mean, that's some other stuff right there. And Miz, do you have any favorites for
choose
these
the Vindy
tournaments
first.
generally?
I think my favorite tournament ship is the Sleipnir because it's just an iconic ship throughout many years, and it can both be a rush with autocannons, or it can be the artillery fly killer Sleipnir, which is just pure awesome.
Meh, meh. Not for me at all. But I suck at anything which involves gun turrets and that I am pretty garbage at. I'm normally good at running away from the turrets in circles and maximizing transversal. And then when I get put into a turret ship, I don't hit anything. So Aaron, I'm gonna assume for you. Oh, it looks like we're hanging over, so I'll leave it up to you guys.
That was quick. They're still open on grid. I'm not even organized yet. Ooh. Oh no, guys, I'm sorry, but they've brought a ship that's not real. It's fake. Doesn't exist.
So what are we seeing on grid here
Arith?
right now?
Oh. Yep. Kick us off, Arith. Let us know. Talk to us. Giving it to you.
Yeah, I'm still getting everything sorted on my UI at the minute. Right,
no
so
worries,
what we're
then.
seeing, so what we've got on grid here is once I finally get them sorted out. So it looks like we've got goons coming in a Geddon Ishtar, double Ishtar Geddon, Magus Deacon, and Myrmidon. That's what I'm seeing here, unless I missed one of them on the wrong side. And then looks. Yep. And then from the other side, we are seeing what we're seeing: a Navy Mega, Zom Z, 2 Demos, a Magus Worm, and Skybreaker. Now, Skybreaker
Yeah, but
is always
Some
good.
doesn't exist.
It's nice little, chuck it in as something to fit in. Really good for clearing those drones off. They've warped in directly across from each other and they're away. So, see, it looks like both teams are starting to burn in at each other.
Yeah, look at the Mega Navy already being primary. I'm willing to bet it's going to be like a super tank Mega Navy. Probably not the right call. Demos as well. That's also a very tanky ship. Very interesting calls there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Looks
like
like we're
design,
seeing some initial split DPS though from Goondra.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that Demos! Wow!
Oh, that Demos is taking a
Almost.
beating. He's just hitting it in the hull. He's got
Oh.
reps. Is he going to hold though? I mean, if that Zom can get spooled up on him, but
Nope.
it's unlikely. He's
he
beating
can't
a
hold
lot
that,
of
no
structure
way.
at the moment.
Gotta be gone.
Nice. There we go. There we go. He's off. So I wonder if they're going to go for that second Demos straight away. Looks like they are. He's already down to
Absolutely,
half
yeah.
armor.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, this is why I said
Yeah,
Zarman
nice.
is not a real Logi. This is why.
No, it's not. Yeah. He's the other Demos there. He's bleeding a lot of hull quickly. He's not going to be up for more than a few more seconds. Yeah, that's, again, another one down. This is the problem with the Zoms. That you can't. You need something big and tanky so it can get that time to spool up. Zom's just lost shields. Starting to bleed some armor now.
As I hope this Mega
Honestly-
Navy can get on the Armageddon and just pound onto him. That's the only real chance they've got, just to rip through that like big ships. Which they've got the Mega there, so he's trying.
Oh yeah, the Mega will make a good shot at it, but I don't think it's that single decon though. again,
Double Deacon. They got 2 of them.
oh yeah, that's because of my UI not locking one up.
Oh, look at the
Thanks for that. So
That man's
I thought
suffering.
there was going to be a new meta developing today of just single frigate lodges. But yeah, double deacon again. It's sort of like the double failure. It's you put them together. They are really strong as long as both of them can stay up and stay capped and keep in range, look after each other. There we go. Yeah, that's Zoms down, and I don't know who's hitting on that Magus. I guess it want the frigate lodgy, not frigate lodgy. Could it be a Magus on Magus fight?
Yeah, potentially. I suspect it's going to be a bunch of drones hitting him.
Yeah, it's
Kind
the
of a
worm on the Magus there. Looks like he's just taking pot shots as he's going.
I mean, the worm's on his team, so I don't think it's the worm shooting the Magus. I think.
Shooting something close by. There we go. There's the Magus down. It's, to be honest, it's that Navy Mega isn't going to last long now. Not without the Zom. I guess they were probably hoping that
it's not going to matter.
It's not, but he's already down to what, quarter armor. He's bleeding quick. I guess they were probably hoping that they were going to start hitting on that and they could try and ramp up reps on him, but obviously they just went straight for the other ships instead. It's done. I'd say it's clear victory for Goondra on this one. This is where they all somehow boundary in the next 10 seconds and make a liar out of me. As I'm sure Zio would love to do just to annoy me.
Ishtars are full newt fit as well, so they had a newt Geddon plus 2 newting Ishtars. So that is a lot of newt power which went into 3 blaster ships. The exact thing that does not want to see newt. So yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. That's the exact thing problem with turrets in this in tournament scene is that's it. Once you capped, you've lost your DPS, and of course you're going to put newts in the Ishtar. You've got those 3 high slots there. You might as well use them and you do something useful with them.
Wait, did he hull tech that Navy Mega even with a Zarmad? It feels like that's a hull tech because he's just not dying particularly quickly.
It is looking like a hull tank. The tiny little chips they're getting off the structure there. It makes no sense.
I love it. It's terrible.
So Worm's into structure there. He's going to go down. Yeah. So I think they're just that Skybreaker. It's a good choice, especially given that they did come up against a drone comp. But I haven't seen much of him getting off on their drones.
Getting off on their drones. I need to have that one clipped.
Yeah, I know that was terribly worded there. Yeah.
Now, I was saying a couple of streams ago, I think it was, I was talking about how newts aren't really that good unless you have them en masse. You have more than 1 or 2 heavy newts. That's essentially a full newt Geddon. He's got no guns fitted. Plus, he's also got 2 Ishtar newts as well. That's how you go full newts. To the point that Megathron isn't even shooting anymore. Even with 3200s, he can't do anything. That's how you do newts, boys.
That is it, and that's why a lot of people go for the Valgorn ban. It's just get that off grid. Newts are pretty much your worst enemy in anything in this.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like the Valgorn ban, I get why they banned it, but the Geddon honestly to me is even more terrifying. It's got a full drone bay to put out a really reasonable DPS, and honestly, it gets no missile bonuses, so you can just fit it full of newts and lose nothing. So it honestly is a more potent ship as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, just nice big buffer tank on that, full rack of newts at the top, and you're laughing from there. It is your basically poor man's Balgorn, I'd say. I'd still prefer to bring a Balgorn in this, but poor man's Balgorn, yeah.
I don't agree with that one, but hey, Mega goes down. That's a clean sweep. Not a single ship lost. This is why you don't bring blaster ships against newts. Don't bring Demos's next time, please. Let's kick it back.
Yeah. Hey, all right. The one thing I did pick up there, if only you were watching the speeds, is that the Deacons seem to be running MWDs. When I think about frigate lodges most of the time in the setup, I think about AB because you're capitalizing on those small signatures that you have. Do you guys know why you would want to do MWDs on something like a Deacon? I mean, they won, but...
Were they NWDs?
I mean-
Or did she get a chance to see the
I know.
speed?
Well,
They could be 10 of them.
maybe
I
I might be
didn't-
wrong, but they would. Oh, 10 you might be right about as well. Yeah, they didn't break the 2K, so they probably weren't MWDs. But maybe that's actually a good point. I mean, what you have the three prop choices of your MWD, your normal AB, the one MN, and then overpropped of the 10 Miz, I mean, do you know why you would have those three options and why you would choose a particular one?
Well, this is actually a really big question you're asking me because there's a lot of thought put behind this. Like the micro drive.
Well, you can go over the basic
probably
advantages and
the-
disadvantages of them.
Yes, so micro drive's traditional choice. It's fast and it's relatively easy to fit compared to the overprop afterburner. And the downside is it eats a lot of capacitor, makes your signature big, and you can get scrammed. And the normal afterburner, it's easy to fit, doesn't take much capacitor, gets you around, and you can't get scrammed. And then the oversized afterburner makes you go fast, not quite as fast as a micro drive, but you retain your small signature and you can't get scrammed, but it's really hard to fit, so you make a lot of fitting choices, and your agility is going to be really, really bad. So these are the things you have to take
That's
into
generally
consideration.
the biggest. Yeah, that's always generally the biggest downfall is that agility because of the sheer mass. You're pretty much putting the mass of a cruiser onto this tiny little frigate, and it struggles to maneuver around of it. But we'll probably go into more depth later. But we do have the other teams already getting ready for this next match. We'll be having AP Stole My Fit versus Hangry Nubs. AP Stole My Fit banning the Scimitar, Loki, and Raven. So they're actually doing the same bans they did again for that first match. Still unsure about the Raven, but hey, if they're coming out ahead, good for them. And on the Hangry Nubs, we've got the Gilla, Barghast, and an Orpheus. So they're banning out the Gilla, the classic kind of cruiser, heavy tackle, resist, damage, rapid light, do it all Swiss Army knife of Eve. And then the Barghast and Orpheus. Orpheus, Barghast I can definitely understand. Wingnut seems to rave on about it being a control battleship. I see it more as this huge damage platforms, especially maybe with the Torp updates, you could say. But the Orpheus, what do you think about an Orpheus ban? Why would people be banning that, Miz?
But they clearly don't like a kiting. Yeah, they don't like a kiting ship, and the Orpheus is really strong with the rapid light missiles. And it also have these extended scram range that the Barghast have. So they're probably wanting to make sure that their small ships wouldn't be get picked off easily by the Orpheus.
Very, very fair. So we'll see AP Stole My Fit bringing the same comp they did last time once again with the Hyperions, the Organ Navies, and the Zarm. Seems people be liking the Zarm today. Well, we do have Hangry Nubs being a bit slow to get the rest of the team on grid, so it is worth mentioning seeing this. Teams, how these tournaments normally run is the ref, someone like wonderful Aaron Thar, he would be speaking to them saying, hey, you ready to go? The teams would lock in their roster. So at that point, even up to 15 minutes before a match, they would not be able to change it. And then say, ready. And then they'd come in, they'd be teleported into the system, and the ref would tell them to warp. And this kind of staggered warping would generally lead to some sort of either disqualification or huge penalties being occurred, where we can see them warping in at range now. The ref might have actually applied a penalty of just forcibly putting them all at zero into the arena because, we don't know what's happening. Could have been a genuine mistake, difficulties, but basically they got people early onto the grid. They got early intel that could have changed their warps. But speaking of that, Miz, what do we have on grid here?
Yeah, so seeing the AP Stole My Fit brought the same setup as before. So maybe they're worried that the AP will steal some of the more secret fits. So they're just showing the same thing. And on the other hand, on the Hangry Noobs, it is the Nighthawk that you've talked so much about, and then they have two of them and combined them with two Cinnabils, two Kirins, and a Swipple. So it's a rush setup just with different ships.
Let's see if I can figure out what these Nighthawks are putting on them as we have the matches kicking off here. So those are hams on the Nighthawk. So let's see what happens. Have we kicked off already? That Hyperion seems to be webbed down. So they're trying to, he seems to be trying to get for the back line, which is kind of a bit odd, but he's going to be held on there by the Nighthawks, which are seems to be priming him right now. So let's see if they can take him down with the Zarm repping him.
So the Nighthawks, they warped in at 0, so they're really close to the Hyperion that was warping in at 10. So this is like a situation where it could pay off for them to warp in so close. But we're also seeing one of the Cinnables taking heavy damage, and that's one problem with the Cinnabel, it's just not tanky. And it needs to get in close to Brawl, and having a big blaster battleship is going to punch through your shields. It looks like the Hyperion is actually recovering, as the Claw and the Absolution are also taking damage, so they're splitting.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So they have the signable there giving pressure to the Zarm at the back to tackle him, but the Nighthawks also launched a swarm of EC drones onto that Zarm. So that Hyperion is stable right now, but he's relying on paste for his Angsel repairs. You know, the armor one repairing more while there's paste in it, while as the shield one has no capacitor. So as soon as the paste runs out in his reps, they're going to be repping for less. But that EC cloud on the Zarm is not being cleared off. Oh, yeah.
So you're seeing both Cinnabels and the Triple peeling off from the Brawl and going for that Sarmast. So they're going to kill off the Logia, which is something that can be
we
really
also have
good
one
when you're doing
Nighthawk
a cross
coming in
cut.
to do that. So it seems they're committed to go for that Zarm now as well. You know, deciding like, hey, the EC drones would have been a valid tactic. One reset, you know, makes it that the Zarm's reps are start from 0 again. But you know, they got it hard tackled, and the Nighthawk there to try and take it out as well now.
Yeah, so they're going to trade one Nighthawk for the Sarmast. We're going to see how long the Sarmast lasts. Maybe they can trade the Kirins for it as well. So seeing one of the Kirins going down, the second one taking heavy damage, but no, there's no one to rep it.
That's going to be a big hit now because you know that Kirin's not going to be able to sustain itself right now, being caught in the fray right now, having relied on its partner to keep it alive, its partner gone. They're going to have to see if they can go back on that Hyperion now, just with their pure buffer. But like you mentioned before, these signables, they can't actually get close to that Hyperion because the moment they get in, they're just going to be squishy glass cannons against his blasters and grapples and webs.
Yeah, so I feel like the Sarmast, he might have gone down, but he did his job well. He stayed alive for as long as possible, and now they're having more ships remaining, they're having more EHP, they're having more damage. So in a straight-out brawl, they just have the better numbers, so they are going to pull ahead of this, I believe.
And we see over here with AP Stole My Fit, they still have some light supports in the Claw, which is going down, and the Vengeance. The Vengeance keeping the signable tackle, which got blasted over there by the Hyperion. What
so the Claw actually
is,
put out,
looks like
he's just burning around with
running
the
away
drones
from
chasing
infiltrators.
after him. So he's just trying to keep alive and waste these drones' time. It's actually, in a close match, they can be huge, valuable. Like if the Claw, it's a couple of, I believe it's 3 points, and if the match was really close, by staying alive, he could maybe have swung the point in their favor. But in this situation, it looks like they're just going to kill off the remaining stuff and only losing their Logi for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, obviously, in this case where it's a really one-sided match, you know, the 3 points of the Claw might not count, but people can get in this bad habit of thinking, hey, I'm tackle, I need to go tackle, but, you know, if you would have just lived and saved your team those 3 points instead of throwing it away needlessly, you could have won an entire match just by flying around in circles.
Yeah, so we're seeing the Swivel try to chase the Claw, and instead the Swivel just got a lot of drones on top of him. And the Nighthawk is going down, so it's just the Swivel going to be left with a swarm of drones. So even he might not be able to catch the Claw of Kit Kat 1.
But the Vengeance is just has them hard tackled right now, and there he goes down. So AP Stole My Fit winning once again with their glorious Hyperion Zarm, only really losing the Zarm in this. The Claw's doing a good job of staying alive by himself, and those raw HPs from the Ogres keeping them alive. So well done to AP Stole My Fit. What do you think about those Cinnable picks?
I'm not a fan of it.
And Wingnut,
I
yes,
agree.
I would like your input too. No,
They've
just
got
straight up no
potential,
veto,
but
veto on
not
Cinnables.
in that comp. They got potential in that comp. I'm more confused about the Nighthawk pick there. Why? But I will say, I keep dunking on the Zarmad. That comp there is perfect for the Zarmad. Max HP Navy Orgs plus Hyperion that can keep itself alive and an Absolution. Those are ships that can actually last until the Zarm can get the rep going. So that's actually not a bad comp for that. For once.
I didn't really see it happen here. I didn't see smart bombs flashing, but something the Zarm is really good about is it's quite a good, so I say, standalone logi platform. In that it's got the reps, and because it's normally focused on that one really heavy rep, it can put other highs to ETs, small reps, or even smart bombs. Being a trig ship, it has a reduced capacitor usage for smart bombs. So hey, EC Cloud comes over, just push that button, bye-bye EC Cloud. It didn't happen here, it being the prime anyway, but then it also just, using one rep, it's really good on cap, it has the mids for it, it's got the speed, it's faster than a Guardian. A Zarm is good, and we've even priced it cheaper than the other T2. It's just generally you end up in a situation where you can counter it just by switching targets.
It's cheaper because it's terrible, guys. That's the real rule in here. But yeah, that situation there, the Zarm actually is pretty good. And exactly as you said, they put ECM drones on you. It just smart bombs them off. So it's actually pretty good for that situation. But it's still a terrible ship, and it's still not a real Logi ship.
Man, I feel like you've got a real grudge for that's arms. Like,
I hate triangles.
Anyone's got his arms, just no. We haven't seen any. I think the shacks. I haven't seen a single one at all. Like, I think the shacks are just falling out of grace because a bit of a, how do I say it? We probably nerfed the crap out of them on the tournament rules side.
Well, I have seen once or twice. But just they are extremely expensive for the points. So you're going to bring a lot of your points into one ship. And then if that doesn't go well, then you risk having too many eggs in the basket.
About the trig stuff, Aaron Third, like, we have some special stuff regarding trigs in the tournament, right?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't pull the rule set up.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, I can't remember on the trig stuff. I do know, obviously, there's the Zom, as said before, is priced slightly cheaper. Again, what we're noticing, yeah, that was perfect comp to bring it on, because, at the end of the day, that comp doesn't need to rely on its logic. You've got that Hyperion there, and to be honest, I've seen Hyperions in tournaments before, just local reps, and, they'll just sit there and take off the DPS from an enemy team. And
it was looking really scary for that hype at the beginning.
No, but, it wasn't.
It looked very scary. No. Hey, let me explain. No. Like, it got hit, but then it's just like it turns on its reps, its reactive kicks in, the Zarm's repping it, and you're just like, why did I shoot a hype? I should have known better, But in regards to the trigs, the limit we have is there's only one trig ship allowed per comp. So if people were to bring a Zarm, they would not be allowed to bring a Kiki, they would not be allowed to bring an Iki Tursa, they would not be allowed to bring a Shack. Even though the Zarm is a Logi, and we generally have some overlap rules for exclusions on the Logi side, where they don't count towards the hull limits, the trig is an exception. So if you were to bring a Leshak, you wouldn't be able to bring a Kiki, you wouldn't be able to bring a Zarm. So that's the kind of nerf we've put towards trig ships, and that you're only allowed one. The Alliance Open had a similar rule where I think it was 3, something like that, because we didn't want to see the shacks and Drakabacks all over the show. But that's it. You probably have teams being moved over to your side right now, Wingnut. Is that correct?
Let's have a look. See here. I'm seeing some of them warping in, but that's just like 2 of them, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, you can go over their bans and what the teams are, who is fighting there.
I suppose we have to do that. All right, then. Well, 2 rigs, 1 ship have banned out Barga, Spalgorn, Gila, and then banned out Curse because both teams banned Barg because the Barg is a really good ship. If all else fails, banned out the Barg as well. Rattlesnake, Etana, Balgorn. Wait, hold on. That's 2 of the exact same ban. Is there meant to be extra ban on top of that?
Yeah, so there was an extra ban. If a team does the extra ban or something that's already banned, they don't get an extra. It's just on that initial free. yeah, somebody didn't read. These are when I do talk to teams and tell them they've got a double. You send them over what the other team's banned, just so they try not to double ban. But something's got lost in communication there.
Yes, well, either way, that's Bargus banned out because they are quite a powerful ship, and then we got the first Atana ban that I've seen. I think that's definitely going to be interesting.
I've seen it before on Sissy, but I think the times we have seen on the Sissy, it's just people practicing because they know like Atana is a thing that's banned the Atana, even though we're not going to see it on Sissy, but they're just trying to get used to actually practicing. But we're going on to the arena now.
Yes. So we talked about Lashak a little bit earlier, and there is a Lashak on the field. So that's going to be very, very interesting, as well as an Executor, Damnation, Ashimu, Hecate, Griffin, and Punisher. What about the other side, mate? You want to get us through that one?
Yeah. So
They've
they've brought. So we've got the double Typhoon, double Deacon, Magus, Sacrilege, and Pontifex.
Double Typhoon. I feel like we're going back into the old ATs now, mate. This seems familiar.
This does, but this brings back bad memories of Typhoons in certain fights on Tranquility.
Cough, 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 taking Typhoons out. I remember that. I remember that one. That was a good moment. All right, timer started, and off she goes, I think. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. Like, single Lashak versus twin Typhoon. I'm going to be curious to see how that goes. Both sides have a good amount of rep, but not really god tier levels. And, honestly, the Typhoons have the damage, but then so does that Lashak if it doesn't get jammed out or get pulled away from. So I want to see how this one goes. It's going to be very interesting.
Yep, so we've already seen damage sort of go on in the Executor, yeah.
Good call. Good call. Now if they can kill it, that's going to be the question.
It's bleeding. It's going down quickly. They have started splitting DPS onto some of the smaller stuff on the Griffin. There we go. Executire's down.
Wow.
That was quick.
Look at it going for a Magus. They will kill that Magus off, but that going for a Magus first is an interesting call there.
And Griffin's gone as well. Griffin's just...
Yeah, gone. Bomb. I think I'll lose Hecate for that, though.
Yeah, Hecate's just repping.
They got something at least. The Hecate's just alive, but I don't think he's going to be there for long. I suspect the going to get a few drones.
No, he's got a lot of new pressure on him at the moment. He'll be down to say.
Yeah. But... And the Ashimu
in looks like he's running.
This team's getting pulled apart. It's going to be a one-man band here with this Lashak trying to do everything against double Typhoon. It's going to be interesting. What is he going to be able to do with that? Because the Damnations are there, but come on, it's a Damnation. They go as slow as bricks, and they have the DPS to match.
Yeah, it's the Damnation. It's not a great choice. I personally don't like them. It depends if you can actually apply as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Damnation's is on the Typhoon, but he's not going to break through that.
Lashak can definitely break through, but the Damnation definitely can't. Can Lashak break through in time, though? Because I can just see him. He's already getting picked on, so see if his tank is good enough. He's smart bombing off drones, though there's no drones near him, so maybe he got rid of them, or maybe I'm just crazy. Yeah, he's smart bombing.
No, there is no drones nearby. Looks like he's left his smart bomb on by accident. There is drones just went down onto him, so see.
Now, so he'll finally blow those off.
So they've just cleared off the Punisher as well.
There's some drones for you to smart bomb now. Can you please smart bomb them? Why are you not smart bombing out the drones? There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, he finally got them. We're good. However, he is too close to that Typhoon, though. I feel like that's going to be screwing up his tracking. Unless he's going for the other one. No, are you shooting the Pontifex?
No, he's the Pontifex.
Why are you shooting a Pontifex?
This makes no sense. If I was a Pontifex, I would just burn off. Keep that transversal up, and he's not going to do anything to you.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, while we're also waiting for this guy to kill himself shooting a Pontifex, Just going to point out that the points on the screen that you're seeing are not correct. As you see that one of the Typhoons is actually MJD. So the points you'll see on your screen are not going to be correct because, unfortunately, we've not got the Thunderdome fixed for that. But no, we can still see the ships explode as a Typhoon just leaves the battle and just goes, see ya. And he's going to survive because of that too.
He is. Yeah,
he's so far away.
I can see why they're focusing on the Leshak at the moment. I maybe would have cleared off the Damnation. Just leave the one ship and then...
Nah. Leshak for sure. Damnation does nothing. And we know her Damnations are super tanked. It's just not worth it. Go for the Leshak. It's the one thing that threatens you. It's the only thing that threatens you, really.
I'm just trying to see what he's shooting at the moment.
Heavy fit?
It looks like it. I'm still trying to see what that Leshak's shooting. I haven't seen it.
He's still shooting the Pontifex.
He's still on the Pontifex.
What? He's still shooting the Pontifex just to make sure we all know that he's got some like epic 5D strategy going on here.
He has just cleared the last of the drones off that one him though, so you know his smart bomb is still running. That's just a massive waste of cap from his side.
Now, I know the Typhoon's now started firing again. I suspect they might have reloaded to different ammos to really screw with his reactive, which I believe he does have a reactive, so he should go down remarkably quickly once these missiles start landing. However, he will be firewalling them off probably by accident, to be honest.
This is looking like he's split guns. So he's got damage going to the Pontifex and to the... Yeah, the
Leshak can't split guns. It has one gun.
What is the UI? Something is going crazy on my interface
it's
because I'm seeing the target painter is not a. Yeah, so my screen showed me two bright orange beams coming from his ship hitting both the SAC and the Pontifex. So
interesting.
So what's going on with my UI?
The target painter might be giving you the wrong color. Either way, he's just got ECM drones.
The Pontifex is target painting.
Ah, there you go. Pontifex is doing the target painting. That Leshak, stop shooting the Pontifex, please. I'm begging you. Just lock up one of the Typhoons that are nearby you and start shooting that. Actually, not even nearby him anymore.
They could have cleared that Typhoon off by now if he was shooting it. The amount of damage that would have ramped up on him by now.
Well, the Sacklage is right next to him. Sure, it's a Sacklage. They're very tanky, but it's better than trying to shoot a ship you literally cannot hit. And there we go. Look, he listened. Woo! It's a little late.
Yeah,
he's in low how he's about to go pop, and there he goes. But hey,
and there we go. So I don't know what's going on with their team. Is he just tunnel visioned on that one there, or you know, is whoever's doing the target calling if they just called the wrong target?
He's
It'd be interesting to find out what they're saying on their comms.
No. There was probably no one to tell him no, to be honest. Everyone else is dead.
Yeah, so there's no way they're going to break through that Typhoon now. Deacons will keep him up, no problem. So I'd say it's just, pile everything onto that Damnation, and take your win.
Yep. Once again, while we're waiting for this Damnation to take 50 million years to die, just a heads up that your points will probably look incorrect on screen. Just ignore that. Everything is not quite right on that end, but it is perfectly fine. Because ships are still dying. Except for this Damnation who will spend 50 years to die. I don't think he's actually going to die before the time runs out, to be honest. Still going. Jesus.
Still going.
Oh my god.
Might get there.
Interesting as well, I just noticed as well, look at the amount of newts they've got in that team. Typhoons both have newts each, plus the Sacrilege as well, I believe. That is a lot of newt power going into this combat. Not even a single smart bomb, I suspect.
Yeah, I haven't seen any smart bombs from them throughout this. Then again, I haven't seen them under much drone pressure at all.
Yeah, but you still having at least one smart bomb to remove drones.
Oh,
by the way,
there we go.
That goes down. GG. Oof. Alrighty then, Zoo and Miz, tell us what we missed.
Well, I think I just want to start by clearing the confusion there. Leshak did not shoot the Pontifex. It was the Pontifex target painting the Leshak. Leshak was shooting the Typhoon, but the Typhoon did pull range and got out of range of the Leshak, so the Leshak had to swap either to another ammo type or to swap to one of the targets that were closer. And then the other Typhoon, when he shot that one, he also pulled off. So leaving only the Sacrilege being in close and having a scram on the Leshak. So they're forcing the Leshak to shoot the Sacrilege, which is a heavy assault cruiser with high Tech 2 resist, and a resist bonus on top of that. So that could prevent the Leshak from really applying that high amount of DPS that it was known for. And in the end, it allowed them to tank the damage of the Leshak and then just slowly grind it down.
I still find it funny how talking about the
definitely saw him shooting the Ponty.
he might have tried it a bit because of the Typhoon burning out, and like we unfortunately we weren't there in the arena with you, but there definitely was like a painting happening there. But I do find it funny how talking about Nighthawk ship out, talking about the shack shows up. But that exec definitely just got nailed there right at the start. So the Shack and Damnation have a good drone base, and that's something you would expect if someone were to be bringing a T1 Logi, is that, hey, the match starts and the first thing you do is you get rep bots over onto that T1 Logi, like cruiser, flying over there right away, because that's where most of their survivability comes from, is that they can fit an AB, they do some, sig tanking on a cruiser, and then they just have this rep bot cloud, and they can just, really buy some time with that and just be this huge speed bump. But they just left their Logi to die. It's like they just board an exit and go like, "You're on your own, buddy. Go for it."
So the thing is, the Executor has Tech 1 cruiser, so it doesn't have much resist, and these Typhoons could just shoot it from across the arena. So I didn't expect the Executor to last long, and if they wanted to save it, they needed these rep bots right away. So this is probably something they could practice. It's generally good practice that if you have repair bots, the first thing you do is launch them and put them on your Logi. Because especially against the long-range setups like Typhoons.
So we're gonna be jumping into the next match just to get ahead of the schedule here a bit. So we'll be having who is it now? It is Jovco Mining Division versus We Are 4. We have the countdown happening, so we're gonna skip the bans for now. Miz, if you can just go over what We Are 4 is bringing over here for now.
So they're bringing up an armor setup based on Armageddon and Sarmas. So we're actually seeing a lot of Sarmas, and then we're having 2 Sacrileges for screening and damage, and then 2 mages for links and a Skybreaker for tackle.
And then over here in the Jovco, we've got the drone setup with the prophecies and this EOS, but then bringing in the sacrileges for that heavy tackle and damage shorts and missiles with 2 deacons as the match is underway already. So we can see Jovco seems to be retreating away. They might be looking to go for an MGD play, going back towards the beacon over there, where We're 4 is kind of also just huddling up, not giving pursuit, but we see some light drones going in to chase Jovco's retreat there.
Yeah, so both teams are starting off by playing defensively. We're actually not seeing any sentry drones being put down. Instead, it's mobile drones, medium drones and light drones charging across the field. And we're seeing the Skybreaker actually shooting at the drones. So this is one of the things the ship can do really well with the chain style of a weapon.
So it looks like they're definitely holding enough for the MGD. They might be looking to make a play here. So if you're the Zarm in this situation, what you're going to be looking at is you don't want to be like 100 kilometers exactly from that MJ unit. You want to be, either make them overshoot or undershoot you, or at least be around your team. The Zarm is slightly isolated. Team giving pursuit here, but it looks like he's closed the gap a tiny bit, but looks like the skirmish is being forced onto that unit now, with We're 4 kind of pushing in slightly a bit.
So I'm actually not sure what the We Are 4 are trying to achieve if they're going to micro-drop drive on the Armageddon, because you're having the Armageddon being right and the behind, along as one sacrilege, while the Sarmast is being so close to the other team. Okay, what are they trying to do there? It's not like it looks like they don't have any comprehensive plan. One side is going in and taking heavy damage, and the rest of the team is just sitting far away.
And that sacrilege of Wherefore is just kind of YOLOing it in right now. The Zarm does have the rep range generally, but I mean, what is he going in for if his team's not following up? Like, I think he was looking, and he goes down. I wonder if he was trying to get like a cheeky scram to isolate someone that was going to do an MJU play, but they need to do an MJU play before that to work.
But he can't do that alone. He just went in and fed, like there's nothing he could achieve from that. So this is like they're putting so much pressure on themselves by losing this ship, because now they are behind. Now they have to make a play. In the meantime, Jovco can just play super defensively, kill off the VR4 drones, and just try and drag this out as much as possible because they are in the ship lead.
Yeah, I mean, what they can literally do, okay, the Gillen's coming in with another sacrilege. Looks like they're trying to make a dedicated push this time, but, it's like you say, they've probably realized, we've just put a timer on ourselves for no reason from throwing that away. And wherefore, under better pressure to make those plays happen. They're trying to put some pressure on the Deacons. The Gillen are maybe trying to shut it down.
Seeing Lucas.
And there's a MJU happening already?
Yes, yeah, two of them are already jumped there. So they're going to do a play, but it looks like some of these ships are going to get caught. Having the Deacons taking heavy damage with a big swarm on Nydia. And one of the...
Yeah.
Oh, horse are just boundary violated. So this is equally just evening out the point score.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a spaghetti happening here. So what we could have seen here is that Wherefore was being a bit slow not Wherefore, Jovco being a bit slow to commit to this MJU play they had. Wherefore pushing up, and by the time Jovco decided to go for this MJU play, it was a bit late. So looking for where the EOS and the Sacrilege are going, they were kind of aligned towards the center of the arena, which means they were traveling in a direction that Jovco was ramming them at. So if they spooled that MJU and Jovco was ramming into them, they could just bump them, misalign, and that might be the reason why we saw a boundary happen. As we saw a Deacon likely going to be dying now, and there it goes.
Yeah, so both teams somehow gave away a sacrilege each. But now it looks like we are 40 in the lead when they're taking down this Deacon. We're seeing the drone swarm chasing the other Deacon. There's nothing to keep that Deacon alive anymore.
Although they're in the back line now with the Zarm is, and they might be looking at get off that Zarm now, surrounding him, getting the heavy tackle onto him. So we could see that Zarm going down soon, and seeing a bit of a Kaidi drone match coming in as the second Deacon is getting pressure. So that'll be interesting once the Zarm goes down to see how this plays out from there.
Yeah, but once again, the Zarm is such in a bad position. Like, he's so far away from the rest of the team, with only having the Skybreaker to actually protect him. These people are just getting out of position so much. This is not something you want. He's giving him up for free.
Yeah, that's very true. Just kind of throwing away. I mean, it should have been really aware from the start. I think, a lot of people, as he falls down there, they can get into this tunnel vision of Lodges. Like, hey, I can rep up to 70 kilometers, so let me be at 60 kilometers and I'll be fine. Just stay at 60 kilometers for my team. And then your team burns ahead and you're just constantly lagging behind. And then you get picked off like that as the Skybreaker support now, which was around where that Zarm was, also goes down. So definitely getting caught out there.
Yes, so both teams are having 4 ships remaining, and the VR4 team is having the Geddon and the Sacrilege as DPS ships, while the Bages do have a little bit of DPS and they have links as well. In the meantime, the Jovco team having of ES Prophecy and Sacrilege and Confessor, all ships that can provide a decent amount of damage. So this is just going to be a rush to see who can kill off them fastest. There's no repping power on any teams. So it's just a matter of getting the best trades in this.
Now, if you were those Confessors, or actually even the Maguses, would you even be in that melee right now, or would you be running around to try and save points?
If I'm the Confessor, I would just run away as fast as I can, kite these drones, and maybe try and kill off some of them. But it looks like he wasn't going very fast, so I'm actually not sure if he was AP fit or what. He just went down really quickly.
Yeah, so we can see the Magus sticking around with their team right now. Obviously, they're supplying links, so they want to be in range. Links going up to, I think, about 31 kilometers on the command SEs. But I'd almost want to say there's no real reason for those Megas to be there. They can just be putting drones on what's ever there and just be running away, because that's sacrilege, and the EOS prophecy could just drop drones and just nuke a Megas, and then it's a bit awkward on the point side then.
Yeah, we're seeing split DPS both on the Armageddon and the Sacrilege. Some drones on both of these ships, and we just
see
saw
some
another
MGU plays
MGD
happening
break.
again. I'm not too sure what they're trying to pull off here. Jovco doing the MGU. So look, in their defense, this is opens for them. Their agenda for today could just be practicing making use of these micro jump drive units. But them running away is not the best thing, I think, right now. Obviously, as you when I said before, the points that you're seeing on screen are not accurate. So don't take that what you're seeing by face value. That being said, I'm not too sure. I actually do think Jovco is actually ahead on points on this.
Yeah, and it looks like we are starting to kill off the drones of Jovco. We could kill some of them and then pull them back, but it looks like they're putting them back on ships again. And on the VR4 side, it is the mages being mages of ink switch. Well, it looks like Jovco team, it's the ES being primaried.
Yeah, the EOS looks like he's diving in now, probably going to get some heavy tackle, because, I mean, if they get that Magus, and then if that other Magus is still sticking around there and he's just making it easy for follow-up tackle, that's just clearly going to keep putting Jovco in the lead for points, and the rest of their Jovco's team is pretty invasive. As I say that, though, we have the Prophecy also crashing in, so it looks like Jovco's making an end commitment here in the last 1.5 minutes of the match to just push their advantage.
And the Sacrilege of Lucas is running away, going to a MJD beacon. Might as well just have burned in directly. Since he's ham fit, he has to be in close to do anything. And right now it's just the Prophecy and the ES killing the mages without the Sacrilege doing much.
What the Sacrilege might be scared of is like heavy assault cruisers have the assault damage control, which gives them like a 10-12 second, I forget the exact number, burst of insane resistances. But against something like an Armageddon, he can just shut you down. He'll shut you won't be able to use your ADC, you won't be able to use your prop. You'll still be able to use the missiles, but he's kind of just dead weight in that melee. I mean, just having your two tanky drone boats there with their huge buffers, the EOS having a recent resist bonus converted from it lost its rep bonus for resist bonus, and the Prophecy also having a resist bonus. Those are two chunky boys that we've seen in the last 30 seconds, and I don't think they're going to be able to grind through them in time.
Now we're seeing the mages going down, so there's just like an Armageddon versus a Prophecy and ES when it comes to points. And there's definitely ES and the Prophecy being the most points, so the Jovco team are definitely ahead in points.
Yeah,
and there's less than 30 seconds remaining.
Like, I don't think there was much reason. I still think Jovco was ahead on points in that time, but there wasn't really much reason for those Maguses to stick around there. If links were that important, luckily links have an overlap, whereas by the time the module's ready to cycle and fire again, you still have about 30 seconds to a minute left of the link duration to who you applied to, so you can just turn off auto repeat off and manually be firing your links and kind of be dive bombing your own team to apply links if they're that important. You don't have to be there 24/7 hugging there and just die needlessly like that. But as we say that, wherefore was it takes the lead? No, Jovco, sorry, takes that win. So Wingnut, what do you guys have to say about that?
Eesh. Prophecy? Why?
What's wrong with a Prophecy?
It's a giant bird brick. It's like bringing a damn nation, but shittier.
It's good. I mean, it's a drone boat. It has a resist bonus. It's got the mids for utility. It's got the highs for utility. It's got it all. I mean, some people would bring an EOS, but the EOS has a repair bonus.
One reason
problem with the
is
Prophecy
it has command bursts. That's it. But you've got an EOS that has command bursts. You don't need a Prophecy.
So I think the problem with the Prophecy compared to the Myrmidon is that the Prophecy only has 75 drone bandwidth. So even though it's a drone ship, it doesn't really have much drone DPS. And they could have used some extra drone DPS in this situation.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the team who won with the prophecy, though. But I do get your point. It's look. I mean, we all have our biases and everything, but I do definitely see the value of a prophecy. The Myrmidon, like Ms. said as well, is we have this difference in the drones that they can have, basically feature on their bandwidth. I think they have the same bay. I might be wrong about that, but their bandwidth is different. I believe the Myrmidon has 100 bandwidth and the prophecy has a 75, but basically it means the prophecy either has to do something really janky where it goes like 2 heavies, 2 mediums, and a light, and it has to kind of manage its drone groups like that, and it gets a bit weird, whereas the Myrmidon can just go like, here are my drones, have them.
Yeah, and also, again, Zarmad lost because Zarmad's not a real Logi.
He's just biased. Like the moment we're going to see a Zarm with like a Kitsune and the Rook or some janky ECM like that, like it's going to be like, hey, yeah, Zarm's really good. I knew the Zarm. This is the place for the Zarm. But it's like every other time, you're just going to bash the Zarm needlessly.
It's been tried,
like,
I think.
Everything does have its
they got
place.
tried and still lost.
So we've seen the Zarmas win twice today, and we haven't seen any of the armor, Tech 2 armor logies. So actually, it looks like the Zarmas is going to do well in this setup, in this format. It's actually surprisingly well, especially in these tanky armor setups. It's going to shine. But as Suraj pointed out, if you're having squishy armor ships and you bring a Zarmast, it's not going to go well. You need to have something that can soak up damage and maybe also have a little bit of self-rep power as well.
I think the Zarm has lost as much as one, I think. I think we've seen it lose at least twice as well, I think.
It does. I mean, it's a bit difficult to rate a ship, based on this open stuff again. I mean, we're going like this is the be or end all of meta. Obviously, we do also have our opinions, but hey, Zarm could look. That being said, I do actually agree with your viewpoints on the Zarms. They're fully correct. But I actually want to answer. It's a bit of an open-ended question, and I don't expect you guys to get it right off the bat. But let's start with Ironthor. Do you have like a least favorite ship which you would consider being absolute garbage? Why would someone have brought this?
Honestly, I'm gonna say the Zom as well. So it's really.
Yes, like, man after my heart.
A lot of ships. So there is a lot of garbage ships out there. You're not going to use in a tournament environment, but it's most things you can find a place to fit them in depending on your comp. Even if it's just the frigate, it's just 1 point. You've got a point spare. Chuck somebody in it. You've got another body on field. They might do something. The Zorm, it's just anything that is tanky enough for it to be useful. You're probably not going to worry about it too much anyway. The stuff that you're trying to save is going to go down before the Zom can even ramp up. I'd say you're better off.
You bring up a bit of a decent point here in that I think we kind of have two categories for useless. We have ships which are, on paper, you might think like, hey, this has some value in a tournament. This, can maybe do something. It has maybe a bit niche or something. And then you just have outright like, why the fuck would anyone never fly this? Get it out of here. It's like no one would ever consider it. But, the Zarm would fall into that first category of like, hey, it's priced cheaper. It can rep hard. It can do everything. Why, let's take it. But, when you put it into play, you start seeing all these negative aspects showing up.
I have mine, but you're all going to disagree with me. And I already know, like, I'll be able to hear Miz go wild the moment I say this. Tech 2 Logi frigates. Terrible. Bring more DPS. Bring more support.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I have to disagree as well.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. But I just personally don't see the point. I'd rather bring more DPS or more support to try and mess the enemy team, not just bring 2 Logi ships. Let's face it, with the DPS as it is now and the resist nerfs, they can't really help rep as well. They can tank better, they just don't really rep as well. They're not quite.
I mean, from my side, when it comes to useless, it's like for my side when it comes to like useless stuff. I mean, if we're talking about categories, T1 destroyers are for me a waste most of the time. The Kiki might be an exception, but like they don't offer, like they can just vanish. T3 destroyers can bring a lot more. Having an Addictor, having an Interceptor, or something like that. For me, T1 destroyers is a bit of a waste most of the time. I think like they'd only get it into a comp if that was literally the only thing you could take. That's how I feel. And Miss, what's your opinions on something you would never want to see and you just consider trash tier?
Oh, that's a lot of stuff. I'm not even sure where to begin.
Just one off the
Maybe
top of your head before we jump over to the next match.
The Tempest fleet issue. Bring a Typhoon fleet issue instead.
Okay.
That's much better.
And then we'll hand it off to Wingnut for this one then.
Oof, I need to look up these targets first. This is going to be definitely interesting because they brought a Raven. What? Why is there a Raven? Why are there 2 Ravens?
I mean, you're missing one of the key ships on this on the field. It's one of your favorites, isn't it?
I'm still organising my stuff, my man. I'm still organising my mess, man. Give me a break. What am I missing? Talk to me, Goose.
That Drake.
Oh my god, there's a Drake. Okay, that team wins by default. That being said, this is a very, very weird matchup. I'm still trying to organize things, so I'm not quite sure yet. But Cerberus wasn't banned, and there it is immediately. Sleipnir wasn't banned, and there it is as well. This is going to be interesting. And a Scimitar. Whew, that's a lot of points. Hopefully everything's set up. This
is going to be an interesting fight, I think. They're both bringing 2 T3 destroyers, and you're going to see this Sweeple versus Jackdaw. See, I like the Jackdaw more than I like the Sweeple.
Jackdaw every time. Jackdaw's way better.
Yeah.
Sweeple has some benefits for sure, but Jackdaw's get that one-shot capability. I want to see these Kirans just die from one shot from these Jackdaws. We'll see if they go for it, but they should have the capability just to delete them.
Honestly, I think we're just going to see
what the
Ravens fly around the edge of the.
Yeah, I can check the Ravens for you. The Ravens are. Let's take the glasses off. Cruise missiles, cruise Ravens. Very interesting. So they'll be able to shoot across the entire arena, but not much else. We'll see what they can do. They're going after one of the Cerberuses already, and the Sleipnir should be able to keep that thing up permanently under these Ravens.
Oh yeah, if that serve, as long as that serve keeps his speed up, it's, he's not going to apply much using cruisers on that.
You say keep his speed up. He's moving at 26. Unless my thing's broken. Hold on. No, 200. Not my bad. He's a little bit faster than 26.
Because I was just double checking you there.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Griffin is still alive. I'm not going to lie. I thought the Griffin's going to get nuked. Like the Swipples would chase it down.
Griffin's down to half armor. I mean, he's catching reps though. I think this is the advantage we're seeing over this. Ooh, that just disappeared.
I think the Ravens saw that he was Michael Warp driving. They both targeted him, and I suspect there might have been a target paint somewhere too that just deleted him in a second. Just like the volleys lined up, and just got removed. Should do Jackdaws as well. My bad. Look at this Sleipnir though. Sleipnir's now getting pounded.
I was wondering why the Ravens were shooting their own Sweeple, but I'm surprised they've turned off that Griffin now. Yeah, so it looks like they're going for the Sleipnir now. I thought that's what they would have went for first. That's what I would have done. But I think this is why
going for the Scimitar, but Sleipnir's a good option. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Sleipnir or Scimitar. I probably gone Scimitar.
Scimitar's keeping quite good positioning though. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a Raven, right? They can shoot across the map with Cruise. It doesn't really matter where the Scimitar is.
Yeah, Sleipnir's is that Sleipnir going to hold though? It's bouncing at a very low shield, but it just seems to be catching enough reps to stay up at the moment.
it has potential to go both ways at the moment. So I don't even know what to say. I'm just like watching, going, where's the break going to happen? Where is one team going to start just falling apart? I'm just waiting for that moment. It's just kind of hard to call to that point. Jackdaw's getting hurt, Sipple getting hurt. I'm not seeing really much in the other team at all. That Sipple's still just sitting there casually, which is surprising. There's a lot of one-shot capability from these Jackdaws. They should be able to just like delete a Kieran or delete a Sipple like pretty easily.
That's why I thought it's. I'm surprised that the Jackdaws aren't just on harassing the Kirins, because they're going to apply well. The fast rate of fire. There they are.
Actually, I wonder. Hold on.
And as soon as that Kirin goes down, the other Kirin will go down. And that's it. They've lost their reps, and they can just sort of pick off what they want as and when they want. Now that Sleipnir's gone.
Sleipnir gone down. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. This could be very, very incorrect, but I think those might be rapid light Cerberuses. Maybe. I could be crazy. I think they're rapid lights, so they're just waiting for that sync. I can never tell.
They look like
rapid lights. Yeah. So
yeah, the only drawback there, though, is
the
30-second reload.
For sure,
it's
but
that reload cycle once you run out.
Anymore.
Yeah, Griffin's taking a beating now, but looks like it's catching reps.
He's trying. He's holding as best he can.
He is trying, the little Griffin that could.
We've seen this before, man.
That Speedball's going down.
Just got you. Yep, Sipple's gone, but too late. This Griffin goes down. Sipple did his job just.
Curious, I'm seeing damage hit that Drake. No, I think at this point I'd be going for one of the Ravens rather than.
Yeah, you might as well. The Drake's the easiest thing to kill there, and the Ravens aren't doing much at this point. Just go for the Drake. Get another kill. I think it should be easier.
Oh, it'll definitely be easier. It's just I leave the Drake up for a meme value.
Drake survive, everything else dies.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not even sure they'd be able to kill it in time. I don't know if I missed it. I'm looking around now. What drones did the Ravens have? I didn't see anything particularly. I wonder if they had drones or rep drones. They have. There we go. They have infiltrators. There we go. One of the Ravens put out infiltrators. That's what they have. So you might be changing over to.
Yeah, I'm seeing some acolytes as well. Floating around.
We'll see. And yes, someone asking in chat, the Ravens R&D cruise fit as this Drake is now going to Hull and being removed from this Earth. Yep, as expected. That Jackdaw is still holding on though, but I don't think they're going to kill the Jackdaw at all. That Scimitar is now just perfectly capable of keeping everything alive. Honestly, if the Ravens wanted to try anything now, they have to shoot the Scimitar. They have to shoot it no matter what. It's got to go. They can't kill anything anymore. Honestly, it should have been killed, about 2 or 3 minutes ago. But hindsight's 20/20. You got to shoot the Scimitar, get rid of it.
Yeah, it looks like that Jackdaw is in defensive mode as well. So that thing could just sit there. The thing is, if they took that, no, it's not going to do much regardless of what mode it's in. But it's not getting rid of that Scimitar. They're going to struggle to break anything now. They're not going to break anything at all, really. It's just
not at all.
It's just a matter of time.
And I think one of them switch over to the Cerberus at least, maybe. But yeah, they're both switched to the Cerb now. But that doesn't matter. There's a Scimitar. You got to kill the Scimitar. Stop shooting the Cerberus. Shoot the Scimitar. Ree. Oh, well, it's not going to matter. That Raven's going straight through into armor. Though this Cerbs might hit reload, so he might get some time to regret his mistakes before he dies. But okay, there
possibly
we go.
If
starting to take a padding. They might be able to do this. Maybe they can get very lucky. The Serbs could hit reload.
If they hit reload before that Raven goes down, they may be able to do it.
There's like a slight, thin, wafer thin chance, but I mean, no. The Scimitar is currently just keeping himself repped up well. He's also got a few rep drones on him as well, just to make it a little bit easier. So maybe.
Half structure, but it looks like It looks like one of the Serbs. Looks like Tyler's hit his reload cycle. I don't see anything coming out of his Serb now.
He's starting to hold
Let's have a
now.
look at their other one.
He's starting to hold.
Yeah,
Oh, he might
Kenny's
get
still
a
shooting, but
scimitar.
if they've got staggered reload cycles, you know, when's Kenny going to hit his and when's Tyler coming out of his? You know,
Oh my god, he's losing hull still, but he's still getting shield boost cycles. That scimitar is going low shield, but I don't think he's run through his boost yet. I feel like he's got a few more left. Nope, doesn't matter. Raven's gone. Maybe you can get the scimitar. Come on, mate. Dujek on one eye, whatever the hell your name is, mate. I believe in you. You can do this. Get the scimitar. Avenge your brothers.
Scimitar's running. Not that's going to make much difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where he runs. It doesn't matter how far he goes. He can still hit him. There you go. Honestly, running probably killed him faster, to be honest. He probably cycled his micro warp drive. Yeah, I think he's got a micro warp drive. I didn't check, so sorry. But yeah, the Ravens are getting pounded through shields. Well, they at least got the scimitar, so now's the time you could actually maybe kill a jackdaw. But there's only 30 seconds remaining, so I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
No, he hasn't got enough time to kill a jackdaw. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to kill the last Raven, to be honest.
Someone's saying in chat
if one's stuck in a reload cycle, there is no time left.
And I'm not seeing missiles fired, so he actually might have burnt out his launches. Yeah, he's put good fights on Liquid, so yep, match is over. Ravens, why?
Oh, the one thing I found funny there is just like looking from this perspective is that the Griffin was kind of like lurking around the center of the arena. You can see him like lagging behind, and then you can see here comes a little red Spitball like, oh, I can get him, and the Cerberus are just like, nope. It's just like got debated into that Spitball overextending, and then just got smacked in the face.
Yeah, that was actually honestly a rough match to fly against if you're in a smaller ship, because that's so much just clip damage. There's so much like front-loaded damage. You just get deleted, which he did to the point I thought it was a cruise volley. Just got lucky at one shot. That's how quick it was.
I was also having flashbacks bringing that to that APOC Navy game we saw where it was 2 APOC Navies and we were just like, shoot the Bassie, please.
Like it's all they shot the scimitar like halfway through that match, it would have just gone down. Like, it couldn't last forever, even with the rep drones on it. It wasn't going to matter. They just took so long to finally pick it off. I wonder why.
So I think like one of the main issues the Hangry Nubs team was facing was that these cruise ravens were struggling to apply to the jackdaws and to the griffin. So spent so long time shooting something they couldn't apply to. They needed those ripples in order to apply to something. But when you're up against a fly killer setup, which essentially the Goon setup was, it was the RT Sleipnir was rapid light and the jackdaws with the light missiles. So as Surrout nicely illustrated with the hand movements, that swivel just got clapped and the other one went down as well. So they just lost this ability to deal with the small ships and they were forced to shoot something big. But they could have tried the scimitar with earlier, because the scimitar can't run from cruise missiles.
Yeah, for sure. And then one thing, it might have been a drone control range issue, but at the end when they were trying to finish off that simi, you could see that they were shooting the simi, but the drones from the Ravens were going onto, some other stuff which wasn't the simi. I'm not sure if it was a drone control range issue, but it definitely seemed like they weren't really coordinating where all the DPS was going onto the field properly. But we won't once again hang up too much on that. We'll be going over to the next match, just what they'll be over to. We'll be seeing 2 rigs, 1 ship, the flying, and AP Stole My Fit once again. So the bands for this side, AP Stole My Fit going with their classic Scimitar Loki Raven. Raven's clearly a threat, everyone, as we just saw from the previous match. Miz, if you could just go over quickly what 2 rigs, 1 ships have banned.
So they've banned the Healer, the Balgon, and the Barghest. So typical tournament ships. So the Healer actually being banned in every match, I believe. So people really don't want to see that one. And the Bargon, we've talked
I'm not
about
too
the long
sure.
range weaponifiers and the nukes, and the Bargest as well, like having long range DPS and a long, extended scram.
What when I'm looking at the Balgorn, like it's definitely annoying. But would you be still banning the Balgorn over an Armageddon, considering that the Geddon has the range bonus, the Geddon has the drone bonus when we can have T2 drones? Which one would you see more of a threat? A Balgorn or an Armageddon? Especially like the Geddon's also cheaper.
It depends a lot on what you're bringing. Like if you're bringing battleships, then the raw neuting power of the Bargon is going to be much stronger than the Geddon. But actually, if you set up as cruiser based, then the range of the Armageddon could definitely be an issue because it makes it harder for cruisers to maneuver around and makes it harder for them to kite the Geddon. But on the other hand, the Bargon also have the long range webifiers, which gives it this multi-purpose role, so it can still control a lot of grid, making it difficult to move around it.
Yeah, it can be in the spoiling role. It is the Balgorn's definitely got a big, like A grade tier, high tier, whatever rep in the tournament scene, mainly due to its history as a flagship ship in the past Alliance tournaments, where teams were allowed to dedicate one ship as a flagship and pimp it up with dead space modules, officer modules, and you'd set up in a situation where the Belgian would come in at 0, have its officer webs, heat them up, and literally the match would start, and it would be able to web every single thing in that arena right off the bat. But we do have teams arriving here already. So, Miz, if you can just go over what we are seeing on arriving on grid here right now.
Yeah, so on the just checking, like 2 rigs, 1 ship. They have brought a Sleipnir Cerberus caracal setup. So like having these maybe a little bit similar to what we saw with the Goon team, with having actually just need to check the guns of the Sleipnirs. Might actually be
Also just
autocannons.
concurrently. Those are definitely no. Those are no. I think those should actually. Yeah, those are autocannons. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually a rush setup they're having with these Sleipnirs, and then the caracal, the Cerberus with the long range missile DPS. So they're having the Sleipnirs in the front line and having this really strong back line. And on the AP Stole My Fit, we just talked about Apox, and now we're seeing 2 Apox in a full Amar setup. So they're having 2 Apox, 2 Devoters, Punisher, and 2 Inquisitors. So they actually take 1 Logifrix.
And the match is off. That is okay. Sorry, it's just some weird stuff happening local here. But they're underway already with the Osprey getting hit. Those Apox are probably going to be a lot of pressure onto that at range. I'm not too sure what happened with the Punisher. I think it was a boundary violation, most likely, or some extra ship on grid, which you saw disappear there.
Yeah.
But I do still have him locked up right now, so that might just be a UI error. So the Punisher is actually still on grid, even though.
Yeah, so it was not a Punisher. It's not a Punisher, so there might have been some issues with the system, but we're having 7 ships on each teams, so that should be okay. And you're seeing the Osprey being primated by these Navy Apox. That's the right choice. You can project this damage so far, and you can push the Osprey away, and then you can just swap to another target and kill that while the Osprey is out of range. And you're seeing the Caracal taking heavy damage. He's actually committed to far in. So this is a bad position for the Caracal, and he needs to turn around and burn back if he wants to survive.
Definitely does. And what we do see here, 2 rigs, 1 ship, I think. Who's on the blue? Yeah, they seem to be using a lot of rep drones right now to keep their side, try and keep their side alive, which is helping them. Although, there we go. The Caracal's down, so that's definitely a clear proper target priority there. Caracal being able to put out a rather large amount of damage, between like 500 to 600, I think, but being a really, really squishy hull and struggling with fittings in the mid. So the clear winner there to take out at the beginning.
So this is actually some really bad positioning by the two rigs, one ship. Like they're having their cruisers so long in front of the Sleipnirs. The Sleipnirs are the ones that are supposed to be in the front. And we're seeing as Osprey is coming in again, is getting shot. He's going into a low structure, a low armor, sorry. And he's trying to pull away, and Manticore went down as well. This is just not looking good for them.
But those Inquisitors seem to definitely be pulling their weight. But I do think these Inquisitors are doing quite a good job as well, due to the sheer amount of rep bots coming out from AP Stole My Fit right now. The rep bots definitely helping them. As long as they're really good at moving them around, being able to manage targets, those rep bots are just going to do an amazing job of that frigology. And meanwhile, two rigs, one ship suffering, as you can see, and Osprey is trying to help itself out and just get pounded.
Yeah, so I think like the AP Stone Fit team has been really good at exploiting the misposition of the two rigs, one ship team. When the carrier got close, they fragged that one. The same when the Mantic got close, they took the opportunity to snipe it. And as soon as the Osprey came in close, they shot that as well. So it became really hard for them to actually positioning. And now we are finally, after so long, seeing the Sleipnirs getting in range to actually do something. And one of them is already in low shield.
Yeah, I was actually worried that I got it wrong for their weapon system. Just didn't confirm because I was really expecting a lot more from the steps. I actually do want to confirm, and I didn't get it wrong from them. But there's not much to do. I mean, they still have the XLSBs keeping themselves up. There's a bit of rep drones we can see they're going on the steps, also helping it up. But it's not enough at this point. I'd say.
Yeah, they're trying to swap between the Inquisitors, but the response with repair drones is so quick. And this is like some really important thing with these kind of setups, having your teammates being able to swap repair drones. So not only these DPS ships have to manage the targets they're shooting and the targets they're tackling, and also have to be ready to swap off the repair drones to the correct target. And they're doing that really well, so they've definitely been practicing this.
We can see the rep bots doing the work right now, and unfortunately, they don't really have much to clear them out with. I'm looking at the Jackdaw right now. It looks like the Jackdaw is shooting at the Punisher. In my opinion, what that Jackdaw should have been doing this whole time is he should have been getting rid of those rep bots. Being able to literally just put one launcher on each rep bot and taking them out, because those rep bots have been keeping those frigologies up. So if that Jackdaw was able to kill out those rep bots and just help with that situation, we might be looking at a bit of a different situation here. Although, like you said, the two rigs, one ship still being caught out of position.
So another thing that another great way of dealing with repair bots is having bombers using the bomb. I'm not sure if the Manticore of Commander Puck actually had a bomb launcher, or he just got killed while trying to go in for a bombing run. But having this bomb could clear off all repair bots and buy you so much time. But against this, he might not just been able to get in range and doing it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, bombs flying, what's it, like a couple of kilometers? Well, it's like having a blast radius, like you say. But it's still, when you see a bomb like that coming in, and especially when it's close like that and all huddled up, if they're paying attention, they can just recall it. I'm still saying, like you say, a bomb would be a very great option. Unfortunately, he died too fast for us to check that, but it's still just not enough. You need consistent removal. I mean, something like a Skybreaker, we kind of give Eden.com a bit of a bad rep, but it's a shield team. A single Skybreaker, it helps with tackle. It's fast. It's got resistances, and it would have just it had a field day against all those rep bots.
So back when I was flying for Hydra, I used to fly tackle ships, and often I would have a overview set, a tab for repair drones only. So when I flew a retribution, I would go in and clear repair bots. And this is something like all teams should have an overview tab, so they can just quickly shoot the other repaired bots. Because the Devoters only have, I believe, drone bay for one set, and the APOC navies don't have much drone bay either. So it could have been easy for them to clear the repair bots and then maybe finally break these lodges. Because remember, this is just take one Inquisitors, and they have been getting so much value out of them. And Wingnut has been trashing the take two frigate lodges. But here we're seeing even the weaker brothers have been totally dominating this match by just keeping everything alive against this rush comp.
And it seems like the only loss is going to be that bonus Punisher they try to sneak in. I'm not too sure if that was an artifact of the previous match or just some miscommunication. But yeah, the Divas actually having 2 waves of lights being 50 bait, 25 bandwidth. I was actually quite interested by that Devo pick. I'm not sure, Wingnut, why do you think someone would have brought a Devo over, let's say, a Sacrilege or even a Zealot or something if you're going to some R setup?
Oh, the Devotas? 20-kilometer scram range. That is disgusting, and you can be really brutal with that. Also, they're pretty good with damage, to be honest. They're not that terrible. Like, I just looked up in chat as well. It's about 200 DPS with Scorch with no mods. That's not terrible. Like, it could be a lot worse. And of course, you load Conflag, heat that bad boy up, put a single heatsink in there, and she puts up about 400 to 500. So they're pretty solid ships. Just that Sacrilege, I suppose, get a lot more tank.
Yeah, like when I say a hick, I normally think of TQ style things. You don't really think of a hick being something which comes into a tournament setup. Interdictors have been in tournaments because the destroyer, it's fast, especially the old school flycatchers, fly killers. They've been good. We have seen some teams kind of experiment with the whole webification bubbles or wobbles, but when I see a hick, you really think of TQ. So when they start coming into these matches, it's really interesting, and that's actually something we saw happen in the Alliance Opens last year, is where this Mimitar Rush meta started coming with the Lokis and the Slips and the Broadswords. So there's definitely a place for these hicks, and because of those scrams as well. I mean, you have the heavy DPS ship, and they can just tackle whatever it wants at 20 kilometers. That's fantastic.
I also want to say as well, we were talking about how I don't like T2 Logi frigates. I like T1s though, because they are so much cheaper. Just save the points, get a better call.
But you're saying that after you got called out.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
two
1
extra
point
points you can put on something better than a shitty frigate. It's so much
Is there
better.
only 1 point difference, Miss?
I believe so. I might be wrong.
It might be from Ultimate. I'll check us now just to confirm with you.
Yeah, I'll have a look too, actually.
So let us see. Inquisitors are at 3 points, and a Deacon, I think, is at 8. So it's actually a 5-point difference. So that's a collective 10-point difference we have between taking T1 and T2.
Yeah, and it's like the difference is essentially how much more can you bulk up your core, because those frigates don't really matter. Like the reps, they're nice and all, but as I said before, the amount of DPS flying around nowadays can rip through their rep rather. So just make a cheaper version and get a heavier core to just do, as I said, rip through the enemy. Imagine getting the Devos out of that, which did pretty well. And 2 Napocs.
I think one thing we need to be careful about here is not giving these individual ships or setups too much credit. Credit where credit is due. Obviously, they performed. Congratulations to them. But it also just depends. Hey, what matchup you're coming to. So I mean, we can look at these Inquisitors and go, hey man, that did fantastic. But if you went against Serbs and the Skybreaker, Serbs with Rapid Light, Skybreaker taking care of drones, man, I would have hated to be those Inquisitors on that day.
To be fair though to that, would the T2 Logifrics do any better against Rapid Light Serbs?
They might. They actually generally might. Generally, like they would. The biggest thing you have to be careful of with these frig logis with your partners is when you're in a cruiser logi setup, you're repping, and when you need tank, when you need to survive, you have your own local module. You can push at any time that you want. The problem with frig logis most of the time is that you need to rely on your partner, and your partner needs to be quick on the switches, because you can't sit there going saying, oh, I'm being hit, and your partner goes, oh, you're being hit, let me just F1, 2, 3, 4, select you, you're dead, too late. They need to be really quick on the mind. So if you actually need to have a DPS perspective sometimes in these frig logis to know what they're going to go next. Hey, okay, they killed my Caracal. What are they likely going to switch to next? Let me start doing some maybe pre-rep cycles. Get ready for that switch. You have to almost be proactive as a Frigology pilot instead of reactive, because that's where you get caught out a lot of the time.
So I was just looking at chat. So.
No, that's all good. I think that was the second last match. We'll be having our last match of Goondra Unloaded and Oz Fails coming up soon. If you guys, Wingnut and Aaron can go over what will be coming up next for us.
Yeah, well, I can go through the bans, no worries. Goondra banded Vindicator. Why? Bargus and Balgorn, and then all else fails banned out Rattlesnake, Nighthawk, and Paladin. Very weird set of bans, to be honest. The Nighthawk and Paladin ban for me feel like they're entirely out of left field, but everything else seems about right. What do you think?
I don't get the Nighthawk ban. As much as I was bigging them up earlier, they're not that good. Not with what we've seen coming out today, anyway. So I feel like it's a bit of a wasted ban on their part. Again, Vindicator, I'm not totally sold on it. I don't know what I would have done in its place, but I just don't feel like that would have been it.
I already know. Ban Gila. Unless you're going to bring it, you ban it. Because I'm willing to bet you're going to see a Gila this match, because not a single one's banned. That's my bet right now.
Have we even seen a Gila so far today? I don't think we have we?
I don't think we have, but it's been banned most.
No.
I think it's been banned almost every single match.
They've been banned in every match so far.
Except for one.
Yeah.
Except for one
able to
match.
see them.
Second match.
Well, it'll be
banned for everything
interesting if I see a Gila. It would be nice to actually see one and see how it plays out in this, because even during the last opens, like the heel was coming up as a ban all the time.
It's
I'm just looking back. It was like at least 3 matches last time it was banned in. So I'm just waiting for these guys getting on grid. They're in local. I'm just waiting for them to warp in. I don't even. I'm not even sure what they're going to be bringing. It'd be nice if Goons bring that comp they brought last time. I think that was a really nice little comp they had there.
Like, so what we're seeing so far, we can see Sleipnirs, we could see, well, like I was saying, Gilas, and there's other like weird stuff. We could see that Dominic's Naga thing again. Like, someone could try bringing that back out. It really does vary a lot what they can bring.
So it looks like we've got guys coming on the grid here.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just a little. Sorry, what? Okay. Sure. Right. All right. That's not what I was expecting to see today. Let me just get everything's locked up, and I will say what they have brought. I just need to make sure I've got everything set up. Alrighty, so. Alright, yep. So we've got Double Typhoon, Double Deacon, Magus, Attack Rulers, Pontifex. Then we have Double Punisher. Okay. Curse, fair enough. Aneris, fair enough. Dracovac, Stratios? And then an Absolution. I feel like they've just bought like one of every ship at this point. Like that's such a wild combo. A lot of them are though.
Yeah, it's. I've not seen this one.
I will say, I bet Curse brought Missile Guidance Disruptors. He better brought Missile Guidance Disruptors and not Tracking Disruptors, otherwise he's going to be in deep trouble. Because those Foons will have a field day. Hopefully.
Well, we wait and see on that one.
I guess there isn't a near us, but yeah.
Yeah, but both teams are coming in very close, expecting to brawl it out on this one. So.
Just having a look at these Foons, making sure. And they are indeed rapid heavy fit Foons. I was actually kind of hopeful for torpedo Foons, but I mean, that would have been a bit silly. Awesome, but silly. Looks like the Foon team is pulling away straight away. They're going to pull for distance, and they're already shooting on the Stratios, which is the one lame duck in this comp. I was like, why is there a Stratios here? I still don't get it. Why have you brought a Stratios, sir? What was the point?
I don't get it. Absolution's burning in hard. I mean, he's already down to half armor. He's catching reps though, so.
Yeah, he's catching reps. I'm still just confused, but that's fine. Yeah, Absol's definitely burning in for it. But now he's turning around, pulling away. He's not going to try and charge in just yet. What is he shooting?
No, I think
Absolution's shooting at him.
That'd be a mistake. Yeah. we've got a little bit of split DPS there from the Goons again. It looks like it moved on to the Pontifex first, though. Pontifex is in half armor.
I'm just loving the the re at me at the moment. It looks like you're going for the Punisher. Fair enough, I guess. But again, I'm kind of confused. Why is the team with the 2 Typhoons shooting a Punisher? Guess they're trying to not get tackled, I suppose. But they're going to. They're Typhoons. They're not particularly fast. Now what?
Looks like Goons swapped onto their Deacon now.
Yep.
If they can break the Deacon, pick the other one off, and then it's going to make this a lot easier for them going forwards once they lose those reps. Haven't noticed anything.
Yeah,
there we go. Just as I was saying that. Yeah, just as I was saying that though.
The Nearest is... Sorry, go ahead. That delay is a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I hadn't noticed any damage going on to Nearest, but somebody shot at it at least.
Just want to check. What's his curse doing? Curse is nuding. He's tracking disrupting. Oh, I think the curse actually brought tracking disruptors for the Typhoon, I believe. Unless he's just doing that effect for fun. So one.
I would still put it on regardless. Just put the effect on it. Might freak him out a bit, but yeah, it looks like Goons went for that second Deacon. That's pretty much a standard play there. It's once you get one down, get the other down. No more logic to worry about there.
The strat's getting low.
Split DPS on the Pontifex and Magus again, but without reps, they'll melt.
Yeah, and there goes the Stradios. The Typhoons managed to get him. I'm actually kind of surprised that the Typhoons didn't have a smart bomb. If they did, they could have removed an absolute wave of rep drones there. They're going for the Magus next.
Magus.
The Typhoons are going after Curse? Looks so. No, they're switching over to the Oneirus.
Yeah, if that Curse hasn't got if it hasn't got the right damps on it, then just leave it. It's not as effective as what it could be. Pontifex is just melted there.
It's too late for them now, I believe, at this point. Like, Typhoons are going to keep trying on this Oneirus, but at this point, it's not really going to matter because they've lost all their support. There's just 2 damage boats. And that Oneirus is not going to die anytime soon, so now you're going to watch this Dracovac probably pick on one of the Typhoons, I suspect, and just start pulling it apart. No, he's going for the Sacrilege, never mind. And forget that Drax's going to start spooling up and he's just going to get disgusting. Sacrilege is already ADC'd, so this is his one chance to just tank as much as he can, and now he's going to die.
Yeah, I mean, I've flown the Sacrilege in this role before, and it makes sense, free up, get rid of him, get your Logi free, and, let him burn off. Just keep him completely out of the way of those Typhoons. That's it. But once your ADC's got on Sacrilege, they're not that tanky without it.
Not against a Dracovac at full spool, at least, that's for sure.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I've flown one in the lines opens, dove in and just pretty much melted instantly. And in the panic, forgot to activate my ADC.
Yeah, the phone's already been caught as well, so that Drek is already going to start spooling up. And the Oneirus is still tanking quite well. He's got an absolute swarm of rep drones on him right now, so that Foon's going to try and bust through, the Oneirus' self-rep, resist, and the drones. I don't see that one happening, Chief. I mean, unless the Oneirus is running an ancillary at the moment, which I don't think he is.
No, it's not going to happen. Even with the ancillary, I think the rep drones should be enough just to keep it before, that Typhoon will go down before they can get enough DPS to break it.
And if you reckon could have changed this match? A singular smart bomb. One.
Yeah.
That's all it would have taken, just a single smart bomb. They could have removed a bunch of these rep drones earlier, which were on the Dracovac, I believe, right next to the Typhoon. So that's all it would have taken, and this match could have been flipped entirely, but I don't think even that would have mattered. Oneirus is a really hard ship to kill.
I mean, you could use your Sacrilege for that role. If your Sacrilege is going in for the tackle on that Logi anyway, go in, put a smart bomb on it. Yeah, I mean, you've got that utility high there, and it's really depending on what you want to do with it. You can put your Newt on, or you can put your smart bomb on. I've seen it done both ways, and the smart bomb is definitely an option to consider. Some people just, they get too focused in on the nuking power rather than, where can, it's not always the
believe I said
nuke
this
that's the most
last
powerful
week.
option. Yeah.
When we said it last week, you have to go full newts or don't really bother because everything's got cat boosters or 3200s on battleships. So like the newts don't they help, but only on mass. A couple don't really do anything. As we saw with the Sacrilege actually newting the Soneros the entire match, and it didn't really affect him. So yeah, you need to either go full newts like hard, or you bring a smart bomb and start removing the rep drones or DPS drones. Even.
Yeah, and in this case, they should have brought that smart bomb 100%. It would have been an absolute game changer for them, but that's what hindsight is.
Oh yeah, we are great at that, that's for sure. But this phone's going down. He's not long for it. He tried, but you just can't break a T2 Oneros. And now the curse, I forgot as well, the curse is now tracking disrupting him as well, just to make it really suffer.
Yeah, that's the problem with your curse is the track and disrupt. It's 50-50 at the moment whether they're going to bring turrets or missiles, and you've got to make that call beforehand and just hope for the best.
Well, the one thing that so let's say in this situation where it did take turret disruptors, you can always put the tracking disruptors onto drones. It's better when it's something like rattlesnakes or gillas, when there's a very small quantity of drones doing a large proportion of the DPS. So you're definitely not out of the game. But in this case, where it's just a couple of drones sprinkled around, or it might just even be rep drones, it's definitely a bit of a whiff in that one. But yeah, that was our last match. I'm not sure if anyone else has much thoughts about like some interesting stuff that happened there. I was a bit not here, so I didn't watch most of it.
I didn't really like the target calling of if all else fails. They tried to go for the stretchers, which has this resist bonus for armor resist, and they tried to go for the Punisher, which is really bad when you're having cruise missiles. I'm not sure if it was because the curse was just hard to reach, but I think the curse would have been a soft target they could apply to. The issue with the Oneros is, unlike the Executor, it has like 2 resist and actually have a small signature, so it could be hard to apply to that as well, especially considering that many Oneros are dual prop fit, so they have the micro overdrive to get into position and then afterburner to mitigate damage. So when all comes to all, there wasn't really many good targets for the if all else fails team to shoot. So that's actually a really strong thing about the Goon team. There's no really weak, soft targets for someone to kill.
And I think Aaron Thur and Win brought up also a good point here on just smart bombs. It's something we discussed, I think, well, not last week, the week before, with Jose, and we were talking about, if you have these battleships with their one utility high, even multiple, and you have a choice between a newt and a smart bomb, we pretty much all agree that smart bomb. You can maybe on your second battleship put a newt if you want, but a smart bomb is generally going to give you a lot more. And like you say, Wing, that just having the one or the one medium or the one heavy, it's not generally going to win you the game versus the difference of just firing that smart bomb once and just watching their Logi die because it doesn't have any more reps. Okay, but that's. Well, let's just maybe see if anyone has any highlights they have in their mind for today. I know one of my highlights was the MJU matchup we had, which was, if I can remember correctly, it was Jovco Mining versus We Are 4. For me, that was an interesting match because it was one of the few matches we saw where people were trying to actually make use of the quote-unquote terrain of the arena, that being the mobile jump units, which act like normal jump units. Anyone can use them, and they do not have a cooldown. That means if you fire them, you get scrammed, and you get unscrammed, you can immediately fire again. There's no delay, and you can literally just infinitely hop between them. It didn't go that well initially. We saw a bit of a spaghetti with the commitments happening, but Jovco did come ahead in the end, picking off his arm behind, making use of MGU plays to get ahead of that, Aaron, do you have any highlights you had for yourself today?
I'm personally going to go for the Goondra Hangry Nubs match. Both of those comps, I just thought it was, as a matchup, it was an interesting one, because when I was looking at a fight at the start, I thought this can go either way. Goondra pulled it out at the end, but it's one of those, I kind of like fights where it does start quite evenly, rather than, you see two teams warp in and you're like, oh yeah, that comp's instantly better. I think it's the target calling and the piloting skill in there is sort of what then makes those games.
Well, that's actually a fair point on the target calling stuff, especially. Wingnut, for yourself?
I like the match with the Inquisitors, because it's kind of what I was saying about not liking T2 Logi Frigs or the Zarmad. It's the minimal point cost, but you manage to build up your core.
So now you're all in T1 Frig Logi's corner, right? You're going to have a little body pillow there of an Inquisitor.
I'm not for no Logi at all. Screw Logi, but if you're going to bring it, bring Inquisitors. Bring something small that you don't care about, and just maximize your DPS and utility.
And for yourself, Nazir, I mean, you're welcome to pick anything we've also mentioned out before.
Well, I actually think I'll pick the last match here. I really love the Goondra team as a setup. I think Wingnut described it as one of each chips, but when you're actually looking at it, it's a really strong armor control setup, having a lot of utility available and not really any especially obvious targets. So actually looks like a really strong setup, and I'm hoping they're going to bring it more, because I loved seeing it, and I love the Curse as a tournament ship. It's one of the best looking ships in the game, and it just has so much to offer, and it's a really hard ship to fly. So it's one of these things, when you're having a really good pilot, you can benefit so much from it. And
they're definitely fantastic. I agree with you. Curse is fantastic because it does the newts, and not only does it do newts, it does the
right
range.
ECM as well. You need to bring the right EOR as
I'm
well,
just
like
looking at
either missile guns or...
I'm just looking at the chat. Radicos is asking for my opinion about the strategies, and I'm actually liking it as a choice. It's kind of a Swiss army knife in this situation. It has a large drone base. You can bring both damage drones and logic drones. Like having 4 large logic drones can be really life-saving when you just need that extra ripping power. And it has 5 mid slots, so you can bring extra TDs to back up the Curse. And especially if the Absolution has info links, you can have some really strong EOR that way on either turret and missile ships. And it has the utility high slots for neutralizers or smart bombs. Been talking so much about smart bombs, but you could fit 2 medium smart bombs on the strategies and just ram it into the enemy logic drones, and then sort it that way. And it's 5 low slots on resist bonus, so it's quite tanky as well.
That is something that makes these drone boats scary. The Ishtar, the Stratios, the Eos, is that they have this tackle mids, and then they can normally flood their highs with all these newts, which will just overwhelm you.
So yeah, the strategies can do so many things in the setup. Again, other setups I would probably prefer like having stronger drone ships, but in this situation, I think it was a good choice for the points they had remaining.
Yeah. So I think it was a nice show we had today. Saw some interesting things. The Ravens were interesting. But once again, I just want to remind everyone that this is opens. So due to people liking to be secret about what kind of theory and metas they have, this might not be in any form or reflective of what we'll be seeing next week. So next week, starting in a week from now, exactly, is on the 24th, we'll be seeing the tournament actually taking off. Be dropping the link to the brackets where people are welcome to put their predictions, although my stuff is getting deleted once again. It's fantastic. But hopefully you can scroll up, or you can find it on Challenge, or feel free to just join us on our Discord and find all the announcements there. We're also still taking advertisements. Anyone can submit an advertisement. We do have a guideline, once again, in our announcements on the Angry Game Discords. We have it there. You should be able to find it on the Evo forums. Unfortunately, I can't drop you guys a link right now. But anyone's welcome to submit an EVE-related advert. It doesn't have to be something for your corp. It doesn't have to be something for your alliance. You don't even have to be taking part in a tournament. If you feel you want to make some funny thing to show people off that's EVE-related, then go for it. And I feel people have permitted me, and there we go, dropping the links for the advert. So we'll welcome to take submissions. Just follow the guidelines there. Otherwise, just like to thank Aaron Thor, Wingnut, and Mazir for making the commentating a lovely thing to listen to this evening. We also had some refs in the background, which I haven't featured here, but seems like we had a rather smooth evening on Thunderdome tonight. And just a shout out to CCP Aurora, which has made this all possible, giving us access to Thunderdome and being an absolute star with all the support we require. So big shout out to her and everyone else at CCP that's been supporting us through getting this running. So we hope you'll join us next week.
One thing I want to add really quickly is that next week is the real tournament beginning, and a tradition in EVE tournaments is having the advertisements made by players, and this can be all sorts of advertisements. Some people make some really awesome epic advertisements from their corps, others make some that are just hilarious, make people laugh, and there are also some super cringe-worthy advertisements. But so no matter what type of advertisement you have, make one for your corp or your group or your service or your stream or whatever. Make it for your dog if you want to, but just as long as it's somewhat EVE related, and then submit it so we can have something good for in the breaks, so the commentators like us can have a little briefer before we're having to talk again, and people can have a laugh.
All right, but thanks again to everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. We'll be having a raid going over soon. I'm not too sure where we'll be going, but feel free to stick around for that. But otherwise, have a good evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you're from. And thanks again. Probably going to sit here awkwardly as we wait for the transition.